Okay.
Because there's times where we're 3 and out or we don't sustain a drive, and our defense has to go back out there. So, it truly is a team game in all 3 phases, and that's the way we're going to have to win ball games is by showing some of that stuff out.
Then, Coach, right before the half, with about 3 minutes left, Johnston gets loose. He runs it in from 28 yards out to give Dowling a 14-2 lead, believe it or not, with 3 minutes left before the half. And what a day he had. What a night he had. 26 carries, 145 yards, and a touchdown in the Valley. And that was just the start of things because he was running well. I think there's some positives. The offensive line playing pretty well, too, breaking up holes.
Well, and Valley's front's good, and I think Teagan's doing things that those inside the program knew he could do, and he gave you a little glimpse last year in the championship game. But then these first 2 weeks he's been nothing short of fantastic. But he's averaging honestly too many carries a game, and once we hopefully get healthy, we can give him less, and he's going to feel fresher. But He's given us everything he's got. He's done a fantastic job, and he'd be the first guy to compliment everybody else in the job that they're doing. But he's been a great asset for us.
Well, Coach, going to halftime, you lead 14-9. Valley gets a late touchdown before the half, but then the second half, all third quarter was Valley, a couple field goals, and then that kid we talked about in the pregame last week, Nate Wilcoxon, got loose and got behind the defense, and a quick score, 3-play, 68-yard drive. And the Maroons score late in the fourth quarter to tie it and then lose it in Valley's last possession. So that was kind of the second half. But talk about what you told the kids at halftime. I don't think we talked much about that in postgame.
Really, we're in great shape, and they score there, and with you mentioned Wilcoxon, we blitzed into that right into the play, and we end up going to the wrong gap, and that's one of the errors that you have, and you blitz into something, you expect to stop it, and so. It looks like it was the element of surprise that we weren't expecting the fullback, which he doesn't carry it much, but, Boston called the blitz into it, and we just don't execute it. And so, it's just those things. And at halftime, we're in great shape, and if we're tied or it's a close ball game, we feel pretty good because we work as hard as anybody does. And I just felt like that, we had to go back to what we do, and we had to sustain drives and start winning the field position, which, ironically enough, we didn't do, which obviously indicates the final score.
Visit with head coach Tom Wilson as we discuss Dowling and Johnston tonight here at Valley Stadium. Coming up, I'll visit with Coach Wilson about tonight's opponent, the Johnston Dragons. This is Mark Amadeo, and you're listening to the pregame show here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network. Welcome back to the pregame show here on Back to the pregame show here on Iowa Catholic Radio. Mark Amadale. Continue my conversation with head coach Tom Wilson. Dowling and Johnston tonight, week 3 of the high school football season. Both teams come in with records of 1-1. And coach, the Johnston Dragons and head coach Brian Woodley, and last year you faced them week 3 of the season, same as this year. Came out with a 27-0 win over Johnston, up at Johnston, but and also coming off very similar circumstances. A loss to Valley the week before, and it seemed like a year ago, you certainly got the team's attention with the shutout up at Johnston. Talk about this Johnston team. You look at it just kind of off the the get-go. Not a whole lot of returning starters on the offensive side. A lot of kids have played a lot. And defensively, just 3 starters returned. The 4 starter is kind of a backup role right now. So Coach Woodley trying to find what works for his program right now.
Well, Coach Woodley always has some talent there, and you look at the different phases for them right now, and they've played Urbandale and then a very good Ankeny team. Offensively, they've played 3 different quarterbacks. I think they're starting to settle in on their sophomore as their quarterback, who ironically enough is also their punter, which has our attention. But I think they're just trying to feel their way. They've thrown the ball quite a bit in comparison to us. Probably haven't run the ball as well as they would like to run the ball at this point. Defensively, I think they're very solid. They do a lot of line games up front, which frees up those linebackers, and we're going to have to do a great job of picking those up if we intend on running the ball with Teagan again. So it's going to be a good challenge for us. In the kicking game, I think they're very solid. They've got return guys that are worrisome to us. But then again, in the first segment I talked about special teams-wise, our focus has been as much on us as it is Johnston and doing the things that we have to do to get better. But they certainly have some weapons and have executed fairly well in that phase.
Well, Coach, as far as the Dowling lineup tonight on all offensive line, you've got a young man who's out ill tonight, and he will not play, and that's your starting right tackle, Tyler Stein, so there'll be some movement there. And then you're changing linebacker. One linebacker, Jack Meyer, will get his first start tonight at the rover spot. So some movement there, but also I think you want to see, instead of movement, improvement. And you mentioned special teams, and I know that was a big emphasis this week in practice for the Maroons.
Well, it in fact was, and I spent a lot of time in that phase, and it's always been something that I've placed an awful lot of emphasis on, and we just have to get better. And we wasn't long after the ball game as I'm talking to the kids, and I'm bringing up the special teams and the emphasis of that, and obviously that's carried over to this week in practice. But really all 3 phases. Defensively, we had so many misalignments and missed assignments and things like that. We've just kind of gone back to the drawing board to simplify what we do, because we feel like our kids are thinking too much as opposed to getting lined up and reacting. And, we've probably gone that way a little bit on the offensive side too, is, we're not the most experienced, and we come out of the chute, against 2 highly rated teams, and, here we sit at 1-1, and it's a matter of, okay, where's this team going to go? Are we going to continue to ascend and get better, or we're going the opposite way? And, I believe enough in these kids that we're going to continue to plug away, and we'll get as good as we possibly can. It's going to be interesting tonight to see, how we respond against a quality team.
And Coach, finally, some kids maybe to point out that had good games against Valley, whether it be offensive line, defensive line, or maybe some of the kids that Matt and I and Johnny don't talk about throughout the game, but some kids that kind of stood out last week in the Valley loss.
Well, you mentioned Teagan, and I think it's easy to pick him out, and obviously Louis Brooks had quite a night against a very good secondary. Deontay Gerke, the second game in his life playing defense, and he's done nothing but get better for us. And you mentioned Jack Meyer getting a start tonight. He has come in and done some quality things in the time frame that he's been able to play. So Theo Davis is such a terrific leader for us and on our defensive line. We've talked about Keogh some, obviously with the interception of week 1, but, those guys are solid, and there's others. I'll always miss somebody, but those are some guys that come to mind, and, we just have to continue to get better as a team and as a squad, and, I think our kids are ready to do that.
Coach, thanks for visiting with us here on the pregame show tonight. Best of luck against the Johnston Dragons, and we look forward to catching up with you at halftime and during the postgame show, Coach.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Head Coach Tom Wilson has been my guest here on the pregame show as Dowling and Johnston tonight here at Valley Stadium in week 3 of the high school football season. Both teams are 1-1 coming into tonight's game. This is Mark Amadale. I'll be back with more. I'll be joined by Matt Mandry and John Chido as we continue the pregame show here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community.
Schottenkirk Ford Indianola's kickoff event this month only. Take $16,000 off MSRP on every brand new 2019 Ford F-150 Crew Cab XLT 4x4 in stock. Plus, first responders receive an additional $1,000 bonus cash on new 2019 F-150 Super Duty, Expedition, and Ranger. New 2019 Fusion and Escape starting at just $18,999. Ford fans drive to Indianola to buy Fords. A kickoff event. Schottenkirk Ford Indianola. SchottenkirkFord.com.
And welcome back to Valley Stadium, West Des Moines. Mark Hamadale alongside Matt Maindring, John Chido, as we get set for high school football week number 3 and a gorgeous night here at Valley Stadium. Dowling and Johnston, both teams come in with a record of 1-1. Game time temperature, Matt Maindring. I know as a former coach, you're always into what's the temperature, how warm is it going to be, how much hydration do I need before? Oh, and the kids too.
Yeah,
I know all that went through the rundown, but 73 degrees and clear skies. The sun is, well, the field's in the shade right now, and west wind at 12 miles per hour, so the press box is blocking the wind, and the humidity at 48%. So this is football weather, man.
You couldn't dial it up any better. I think, the only thing that we were really worried about once the heat turned down a little bit was which way the wind was blowing across the field, and right now the flags are lying still on the poles there, so it's a beautiful night for football, and the weather will not impact the game. It's time for football.
Yes, it is. And we'll go to our Schottenkirk keys of the game. Matt, I'll ask you to do that here in a moment. But let's go down to our sideline reporter, bring him in for the first time tonight, and that is John Chido. And Johnny, what do you got down there? How are the conditions, and can you feel the energy of this game as we start?
Yeah, the field conditions are perfect, obviously, with the turf and no wind whatsoever, and it's nice and cool. Not like last week's start where it was kind of really hot. A lot of guys were cramping up. But the mojo on the Dowling sideline is to start fast, get off to a good start. They want to get a good rhythm with their offense. So that's the kind of the key to start the game. All
right. Well, thank you, John, for that. Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. First of all, for the Dowling Maroons, and they'll start for the third consecutive time at quarterback, Hank Hemrick, a 5'11 senior. He'll wear number 12. The tailback is Tegan Johnson. He'll wear number 31, a 5'10 senior. Also in the backfield and at tight end, we'll see Zach Swager, number 45, a 6' junior. And the other tight end will be Andrew Lynch, number 89, a 6'4", 215-pound junior. A little change in our offensive line tonight. The left tackle is Charlie Nake. That remains the same. Left guard is Joe Ryan. That remains the same. The center, Nolan Sinnott. And that remains the same. But the right guard tonight is Jake Olson as they move Ryan Bowles to right tackle, and he's replacing Tyler Stein, the Dowling starting right tackle the first 2 games, who's out sick tonight. So Bowles moves from right guard to tackle, and Olson is the starting right guard. And Olson, a junior, getting his first varsity start. Anything we need to be concerned about there, Matt Maindring?
I think, it's the first couple snaps are always important for that young man as he gets his first start, and highly likely that we'll run to the other side of the ball the first time, or pull someone to give him some extra help just to make sure you get those butterflies out. And after that, it's play ball. He'll be ready to go, and he'll have an outstanding night.
All right, the Dowling defense up front. The nose guard is Theo Davis, a senior, number 57, and the tackles are Jalen Pettis, a sophomore, wearing number 55. Russell Pearson, number 67, also a tackle, is a junior. The end is Jackson Filer here, wearing number 91. He's a senior. Linebackers are Michael Kier, wearing number 3, Chris Owsley, number 42, and Nante Gurke, number 9. And the other linebacker tonight getting his first start is Jack Meyer, number 34. He'll be the rover tonight, a junior. He'll replace Carson Kriegshauser, who will come in off the bench. And the cornerbacks tonight for Dowling, Austin Klein, number 8, and Owen Schultz, number 22. Schultz expected to guard, to defend Johnson's best receiver. And the free safety is Adam Brout, getting his third start of the season. All right, let's look at the Dowling starting lineups. When we come back, we'll have the kickoff and the Johnston lineups. But first, a word from Dr. Dan Ryan, the president of Dowling Catholic High School, who, by the way, will be our halftime guest tonight, and also our pregame prayer coming up with Father Ryan, and as we bring you Dowling and Johnston night here on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Central Bank is proud to support the unmatched spirit of sportsmanship and hard work exemplified by our local athletes. We're fans of high school sports and the way the big game and hometown team rally a community. Best of luck to all of today's competitors. Play hard, have fun, and make something great happen. Central Bank, member FDIC.
Schottenkirk Ford Indianola's kickoff event this month only. Take $16,000 off MSRP on every brand new 2019 Ford F-150 Crew Cab XLT 4x4 in stock. Plus, first responders receive an additional $1,000 bonus cash on new 2019 F-150 Super Duty, Expedition, and Ranger. New 2019 Fusion and Escape starting at just $18,999. Ford fans drive to Indianola to buy Fords. A kickoff event. Schottenkirk Ford Indianola. SchottenkirkFord.com.
To Valley Stadium, West Des Moines. Mark Himadale, Matt Maindring, and John Chida as we get set for the kickoff. Dowling will kick off and defend the north end zone here in the first half, and the Johnston Dragons will receive and defend the south end zone. Johnston's offense will be on the field first, so let's take a look at their starting lineup. And as we mentioned, Matt, in the pregame, Jack Rutz is the third starting quarterback for Johnston this year. The starter, Noah Stortz, a sophomore, was injured. Ben Brooks backed him up, and now Rutz gets a start. And tailback is Jordan Rush, number 11. Austin Nanke, Quincy Hale, Luke Woodley, and Tyler Moore. The receivers are underway here on a gorgeous night at Valley Stadium. The ball is picked up as we begin. Alvin Brisbane picks it up, and he gets loose down the far sideline and gets outside the numbers and finally run out of bounds as he crosses the 30-yard line. So it is 1st and 10 for the Johnston Dragons. We're going to see their offense. Up front, Tyler Slagle, the left tackle, he brings experience back, 275. The left guard, Hank Lucas, number 71, 275 pounds. And Eric Bowie, the center, at 230. The right guard is Marshall Gunn, 6 foot 275. And Leighton Tankey, 6'3", 255. So a pretty big offensive line for the Dragons.
Yeah, they got good size up front, and they're going to see if they're going to try to establish a run. It's an offense that really hasn't found their rhythm yet.
1st and 10, Johnston from their own 35. Now penalty flags as they do a little jet sweep handoff to Alvin Brisbane, number 1. He's one of the slot backs, as Dragons have about 4 receivers and maybe 1 running back, and that is number 11, Rush. Let's see what the penalty is from our crew.
It's not going to help the offense in their start.
Yeah. They whistled on Luke Woodley for not being set. Luke Woodley is one of the receivers, 6'3", 170-pound senior. The coach's son, Brian Woodley, is dad, in his 18th year at Johnston. 103 wins, 71 losses. That'll back up Dragons to the 30. Back to throw on first down. And firing the ball out as Rutz. Pass is caught. And a gain of 5 right back up to the original line of scrimmage for Cale Nesheim.
What you'll see from Johnston coming out early here is a lot of quick passes. They're going to try to establish, it's almost like having a little bit of a run game in the passing game. They're going to do some quick slants, a lot of quick releases for the quarterback, easy reads. You know, when you get to your third string quarterback, you're not going to task him with a lot of reading the defense or anything else. It's going to be the easy read and get the ball out of his hands.
So Brisbane, the reception of 6 yards. It brings up 2nd and 9 for the Dragons. And they'll go out of the shotgun as Rutz. Back to throw, fires it out, and the pass is caught. And that was Alvin Brisbane with the catch. And he's run out of bounds near the 37-yard line. Let's see where they angle out. Well, they're going to say he went back out of bounds at the 35, so he'll lose a yard. And it'll bring up 3rd and 10 for the Johnston Dragons. Good defense that time by Dowling.
Good defense there. Jack Meyer in his first start, they did the motion man, number 1, Alvin Brisbane. They sent him in motion, came across formation, and ran underneath the receivers, and that ends up being the linebacker's responsibility, and Jack made a great read, and there was no yards after catch on that one, actually a negative yard.
Yes, it was. So 3rd and 10, Johnston. We're just underway. Dowling and Johnston here from Valley Stadium. Low snap, but Rutz picks it up. Has time in the pocket, fires the ball downfield, and he overthrew everybody. Incomplete. The intended receiver was Cale Nesheim, who was caught the first pass of the ball game. And the pass incomplete, and that'll bring up 4th and 10 for Johnston, and the Dowling defense comes out with a hold there.
You know, when I was sitting here watching the huddle there, and I thought, well, that's weird, they're not bringing their punt team on, but I forgot Rush is the punter.
That's right.
So he is standing out there. They are going to punt the football.
Jack Rutz is the punter for Johnston. He'll stand back at his own 23-yard line. And twin safeties back for Dowling, and I'm pretty sure Louis Brooks will be one of them, as he normally is.
Probably Matt Stillwell.
And Stillwell is the other. Here's a high punt and fielded by Stillwell. Drops it and finally is hit and dropped at the 34-yard line. Matt had it and lost it, and he fell right on top of it and took a lick, and you don't like seeing that.
No.
And it's 1st and 10. Dowling from their own 34-yard line. Let's go down on the sideline for our Shields sideline report from our sideline reporter, John Chido. Johnny?
Well, Johnston's offense started with great field position at their own 40-yard line, and the drive stalled due to that penalty that kind of pushed them back after the first play from scrimmage. We're putting a lot of pressure. Dowling's defense put a lot of pressure on that sophomore quarterback, making him throw the ball a little bit earlier than he wanted to.
All right, 1st and 10. Thank you, John. And it's Dowling with the ball. Hank Hemrick near side. Pass is caught. Louis Brooks with the catch, and Louis puts his head down, gets about 3 yards after the catch, and he's up near a first down. He's going to be run down at the 43-yard line, so he'll pick up 9. He'll bring up 2nd and 1 Maroons.
Coverage there by Trey Walker, number 4, and Cal Killian for the Dragons. In coverage, Cal made a nice tackle on him. Louis, nice catch. Quick, we talked about what they're going to do to get to the young guard in sync there, and the quick pass is a good one to do as well.
9-yard catch and 2nd and 1. High snap. Maroons go to the pistol formation. The handoff is to Tegan Johnston, his first carry, and he's hit and dropped. May have lost a yard back to the 42. He did. A good penetration there by that Johnston defensive line, which we talked about up front. Colby Sweska, Cade Kennan, Tanner Rowland, and Tyler Kronlage. Those are the front 4.
Tanner Rowland there on the bottom of that pile there made a good ankle tackle on Tegan Johnston, and that's a tough tackle. To get him down with one leg is a good tackle.
All right, it is 3rd and 2 for the Maroons. Out of the pistol, and Hank Hemrick keeps the football. He's got the first down, puts his head down across the 45, up to about the 47-yard line. He'll pick up 5, and a first down for the Maroons with just under 9 minutes remaining. First quarter, no score. Dowling on their first offensive possession here at Valley Stadium. Dowling going left to right, defending the north end zone as they go left to right in front of us. Mark Amadale, Matt Mainring, John Chido. As Dowling with the 1st and 10 from their own 47-yard line on Hank Hemrick. Quarterback run, and Hemrick on play action that gives it to Tegan Johnston. He's stacked up, maybe pushes forward for a yard up to the 48-yard line. It's tough going. They're really keying on Tegan Johnston, the Dowling running back.
Yeah, it's a great point. There's not a lot of dynamics in that offense, and that's why Hank on that last play, on that last third down play, that was a great read by him. They gave him an opening. Those linebackers are all going to Tegan Johnston right now. They're going to say, someone other than Tegan, stop us.
All right, and on 2nd down, handoff Tegan Johnston. A little hole as he goes over to left guard, left tackle. Charlie Nank and Joe Ryan leading the way there, and Tegan finds a sliver and gets into Johnston territory at the Dragon 48-yard line for a pickup of 4.
Led there by Charlie Nank blocking up front, and Aiden Moore on the tackle for the Dragons, and those were hard yards earned there by Tegan Johnston. And again, Dowling's offensive line, their game plan always is wear them down, wear them down, wear them down.
Pistol formation for the Maroons, and they will send a back in the backfield, handoff Tegan Johnston, who's a fullback, and he crashes through up near first down, and he looks like he's going to be a little bit shorter, bring up 4th and 1 Dowling at the 44 of Johnston. A 4-yard gain that time for Tegan, who they lined up as a fullback, and they sent their Dowling sent their tailback Chase Hauscheld in motion left to right.
Gave a little different wrinkle there in the look, and then seeing if they were going to send somebody with Hauscheld in motion.
Dowling going for it, pistol formation. And now a penalty flag down thrown by the umpire. And let's see what this is about.
They're going to call it on the center. They're going to call moving the football legal motion.
Nolan Sinnott is called for that. So procedure against Dowling, and that'll bring up 4th down and 6, where it was 4th and 1. So both teams have a penalty on their offensive end on their opening drive, and Dowling will send the punting unit in. Officials tonight, Jerry Kinder is the referee. Scott Tryon, Scott Hale, Matt Stiles, and Brian Gibson, a very veteran crew out of the CIML, and we'll recognize some names from basketball side of things. So very veteran, and they spotted the Dowling infraction. So the Maroons are back to punt. And Nante Gerke, the Dowling linebacker, moves into the punt formation. He'll wear number 9, and single safety back for the Johnston Dragons. And a high end-over-end kick. Fair catch signal 4 by Johnston. He caught it in traffic. He did a nice job. I'll tell you what, that is tough to do. Quincy Hale on the reception, and it's a first down for the Johnston Dragons at their own 27-yard line with 6:51 remaining. First quarter, no score, Dowling and Johnston here in Iowa Catholic Radio. We'll go down to our Shields sideline reporter, and tonight that's John Chido. Johnny?
Oh, once again, now it's Dowling's offense gets stalled by a crucial penalty. That time it was 4th and short, and like you said, the center kind of simulated the snap by touching it and created a little bit of movement on the Johnston defensive line, set them back, and they had to punt the football.
Yeah, and Johnston now will start 1st and 10 from their own 20. They try to put it on the ground, and they find it tough going. Both teams' defense is really stopping the run tonight, and no gain in the play as the Johnston tailback that time, I think. That was Jordan Rush is his first carry, 1 yard from the 20 up to the 21-yard line there, Matt.
Yeah, in the first 2 ball games, Johnston has rushed for a total of just over 200 yards, and so for them getting that run game started has been a struggle, and that's tough with a new quarterback. And so it's really trying to establish the run, free up the thing in that passing game, and they're not going to be able to get that tonight against Dowling too easily.
All right, Dragons with 3 receivers to the left, and the handoff is to the tailback. That's Rush again, and tries to find a seam between center and left guard, and crawls his way up to the 23-yard line. I mean literally, and gets about 2, so it'll bring up 3rd and long once again for the Dragons.
Jackson Filer and Theo Davis at the bottom of the pile there for the Maroons, and creating that momentum stop and allowing the linebackers Gerke and Owsley inside to come and finish that playoff for the Maroons.
The Dragons now still signaling their play, and they have about 15 seconds left in the play clock. They, like Dowling, don't huddle. We don't see a whole lot of huddling in high school anymore, but he's got the ready-to-go offense, I like to call it. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left, out of the shotgun. Quarterback for the Johnston Dragons is Jack Rutz. Back to throw he goes, fires it out, and the pass is tipped and incomplete. Big tight end Austin Nanke had it, but he couldn't corral it, and it would have been, a few yards short of the first down. Instead, Johnston will have to punt. It'll bring up 4th and 7 from the Johnston 23, Matt.
Rutz has just a little bit of a weird release on his football. He stands and his weight is almost forward as he releases it, or it's back. I can't quite figure it out. Watching it on tape, same thing. He just releases a little funny. He doesn't get his hips into it very much, and he's just using all of his arm strength to throw the football and not being able to follow through.
Well, he'll stand back as Rutz is also the punter, the sophomore for Johnston doing the kicking, and back deep for Dowling will be Matt Stillwell and Louis Brooks, twin safeties for the Maroons. Rutz gets the punt away. Fiery kick, nice punt, and Brooks will have it at the 40. Return is right, 50, across the 45, still on his feet, and is hit and dragged down at the Johnston 44-yard line. Nice block by Stillwell on that side. Matt blocking for the young man back there, Louis Brooks. So Dowling gets a pretty good punt return, maybe a 15 yards or so, and it's a first down at the Dragon 44. Let's go back down in the field to the Dowling sideline, our Shield sideline reporter, and that is John Chido. Johnny?
Yeah, Rutz is having a difficult time with Jackson Father on one side and the other tall Nick, I can't think of his name, but rushing upfield, and when you're trying to throw it to the outside, it's hard to throw over those guys, and it's forcing them to throw it a little errant and throw it a little bit quicker. So Dowling's pressure from the defensive line has been excellent.
It certainly has, and thank you for that report, John Chido, on the Dowling sideline. And now we have an injured Maroon.
It was a little quick screen to Louis Brooks there, number 2, and then Louis is the one on the ground right now. I don't know if he landed on top of the football and was trying to get the air and got the wind knocked out of him. There was a lineman screen there. He came back to the middle and had the 2 linemen lead him for a short gain.
So we have a injured Maroon. It's Louis Brooks. Now last year Louis missed a lot of time with a broken collarbone, and hopefully it's not aggravating anything like that. So we do have a stoppage of play. With 4:56 remaining here in the first quarter, no score, Dowling and Johnston. We'll take a 1-minute break and return here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury. Whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
Every month or so, there's another story in the media about when and how often we need to get our mammograms. Kind of confusing. When this happens, I like to consult with experts. So I called Iowa Radiology. They recommend women get an annual mammogram starting at age 40. They know that it's the best way to detect cancers early and save lives. And that's good enough for me. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule your mammogram. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
And we're back here at Valley Stadium. Louis Brooks gets up under his own power and trots off the field for the Maroons after that injury. So we just ran a play as quarterback Hank Hemrick kept the football, and he runs it down to the Johnston 37-yard line. So he picked up 5 yards on the run. So it brings up 3rd and 3 Dowling. 4:10 remaining, first quarter, no score. Back to throw is quarterback Hemrick, fires it out, and the pass is caught, and that's Jackman slipping a tackle. How about that? Nice job by Josh Jackman down the near sideline and out of bounds at the 25 at Johnston. Great second effort that time by the Dowling receiver, Josh Jackman.
That's weight room work right there. You know, Josh Jackman broke that tackle. Trey Walker had him wrapped up, and Josh kept his legs going and churning and turns into a nice-sized gain for the Maroons.
12-yard reception that time for Jackman from quarterback Hank Hemrick of Dowling. The Maroons with the first down at the Johnston 25. Hemrick out of the shotgun. 2 receivers left. The give is to Tegan Johnson. He keeps his legs moving inside the 20 and finally wrestled down at the Dragon 18-yard line. Cade Godwin wrapped him up there and near a first down.
That time, Jake Olson ran behind him there with Bowles and turned into a positive play. And after Tegan broke that first tackle, then he got the extra 5 yards. That's a good run by Tegan.
7-yard run for Tegan Johnson. 2nd and 3 Maroons. Dowling will go out of the pistol formation. Swager is the fullback. Tegan Johnson the tailback. Brooks back in there, and he goes in motion. The give is right up the gut as Dowling runs right over center Nolan Sinnott and left guard Joe Ryan. And picking up a few yards is Tegan Johnson to the 16 of Johnson for a 2-yard gain.
Looked like they're about a yard short of the first down, and you know it's when you get behind that big line with Tegan chopping there, it's churning out those yards right up the middle. Those are hard-earned yards, and those are Dowling yards.
All right, Louis Brooks split out wide to the left. Matt Stillwell to the right of the formation. 2 tight ends, pistol formation. Here's Hank Hemrick. Read option. The give is to Tegan Johnson. And he dives his way down towards the first down, which is right at the 15-yard line.
It's going to be close.
And I think he's going to be just shy of the first down. It'll be inches away there, Matt Manion. Here we go.
Yeah.
We're guessing. And the Maroons say it's 4th and 1. Dowling's going for it. Quarterback sneak by quarterback Hank Hemrick pushes the pile forward, and he got a good spot just
the
inside the 15.
Coming in at that looks like a first down. The initial push was not there, and it might have been when after Tegan Johnson ran up his back a little bit, that might have finished it.
And when you were coaching, that wasn't legal.
That was not legal.
You couldn't assist an offensive player with the football, but now you can.
And you notice Dowling going hurry up here a little bit, trying to get some tempo started.
1st and 10, Dowling at the 15. And this is on the other side of the 15.
There's going to be a penalty. Oh, he called timeout.
And the Maroons called timeout. We'll take a 1-minute break. 2:22 remaining first quarter. No score, Dowling and Johnston here at Valley Stadium on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Schottenkirk Ford Indianola's kickoff event this month only. Take $16,000 off MSRP on every brand new 2019 Ford F-150 Crew Cab XLT 4x4 in stock. Plus, first responders receive an additional $1,000 bonus cash on new 2019 F-150 Super Duty, Expedition, and Ranger. New 2019 Fusion and Escape starting at just $18,999. Ford fans drive to Indianola to buy Fords. A kickoff event. Schottenkirk Ford Indianola. SchottenkirkFord.com.
MidAmerican Energy and you, together partnering to change the energy landscape by pioneering money-saving, energy efficiency programs and building a new industry in Iowa, wind energy, all while keeping your rates low. So what's next? We'll keep delivering cost-effective energy efficiency programs while putting money back in your pocket. That's right, you decide how best to spend your savings. That's a partnership good for you, good for the environment, and good for Iowa. Another way we're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
First down.
And we're back here at Valley Stadium on 1st and 10 for Dowling. Quarterback Hank Hemrick goes back to pass, fires Matt Stillwell with the catch, and he drags tacklers down to about the 3-yard line, Matt. So a nice gain that time of 12 yards. Stillwell with his first catch, and now we are in the Bozen the Florist Red Zone, sponsored by Bozen the Florist. Say more with Bozen, 515-244-ROSE. Now Dowling a give to Tegan Johnson. He tries to get outside going left. Cuts up field, and he may have been brought down right at the line of scrimmage, so Johnson's goal line defense had that well played. So 2 plays there, the catch by Stillwell, and then Tegan's run.
You know, we talked about before the game, who's going to be the threat besides Louis. We kind of thought it might be Matt Stillwell, but right now Jackman and Stillwell both have made good plays to move the ball for the Maroons. And right there, you're right. That size of that Johnston defensive front really is going to be tough to run when they're stacking up the middle.
All right, 2nd and goal from the 3, and now Hemrick will keep it himself, goes in for the touchdown. Touchdown Dowling, and quarterback Hank Hemrick runs it up right over center and right guard. Jake Olson getting his first start, number 58 for Dowling, a 6-foot junior right guard, and Nolan sent it to center, and that's where Hemrick took the run for the touchdown.
I couldn't tell if it was Tegan Johnson or if it was the tight end that came in there and got a seal block on the linebacker and knocked him out of the lane and allowed Hemrick to go in untouched. Nice read by Hank and a good finish there for the Maroons.
All right, Matt Stillwell in the hole. The long snappers Russell Pearson for Dowling and Jake Calvert, the left-footed kicker, attempts the extra point. It's the Toomey & Son extra point is up and good. I want to thank Toomey & Sons for their support of Dowling Catholic football. 1501 Southeast 1st Street. Say hello to Mario, Joe, and Louie and all the folks down there. ToomeyandSons.com. Back after this, it's Dowling 7, Johnston nothing here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community.
Is this guy a contractor who does good work or a contractor who needs work? For a reliable recommendation, trust the Better Business Bureau, protecting consumers for over a century. When you go to bbb.org to check out a business, you'll learn if it's BBB accredited, see its grade on customer service, and read honest, useful reviews from local people. For online recommendations you can trust, start with trust at bbb.org/Iowa.
And we're back here at Valley Stadium. Mark Amadale and Matt Mainring here in the press box. Down in the field is John Chida. We'll go to him in a moment. Dowling leading 7-0. The Maroons go 10 plays, 44 yards. Capped off by Hank Hemrick, quarterback for the Maroons. 3-yard run. That was all set up by Louis Brooks' punt return. About a 15 yards. And boy, John Chida, as we go down to you, that was a nice run that Louis got Dowling in great field position.
Yeah, yes, it was. And we talked about special teams and field position. That's where it all starts. And that was a big change for this year that we haven't seen in the past, and it was allowed them to go on a nice drive and be able to finish the drive as well and put 7 points on the board.
No question about that, John. And now back to live action. Johnston with the first down after the punt return on their own 32-yard line, and a nice pass that time from their quarterback. He hooked up with Brisbane again, it looks like, and that was Alvin Brisbane with the lateral catch from quarterback Jack Rutz, and he got a first down, Matt. He crossed the was a 32. He got an 11-yard catch up to the 43.
Little bubble screen out to that side, and they had good blocking up front from the other two receivers, and the pitch and catch, and good play for the Johnston.
All right, Johnston on the read option. They'll give it to their tailback, and he is hit and wrapped up in the backfield. Dowling brought everybody there, led by Michael Keel. Was number 3 making the stop on the tailback. Jordan Rush, 5'8", 160-pound senior. He is their featured tailback.
Michael Kehoe came up and laid a lick on him, and just like a bullet out of there. He saw him come off the backside, and Michael hit his lane and in stride put the stick on him.
So it brings up 2nd and 9 for a gain of 1 for Johnston up to the 44-yard line. Johnston going right to left. They're in their visiting white uniforms, purple numbers and pants, white helmets. Quarterback is Jack Rutz, a sophomore, and the give is once again to a tailback, and this is somebody other than Rush. This is Brady Hovey, number 5, with the carry, and he gets up near the 47-yard line to pick up a 3.
Chris Owsley, probably underachieved a little bit last week and really came up and made a nice play. I expect to see a good night from him this week. He's a good ball player. Had a really good first week, and probably what happened in that second week is the Valley crew tried to key on him a little bit more and take him out of plays, and he came up and made a nice play right there.
All right, we've come to the end of the first quarter, believe it or not, with the score. It's Dowling 7, Johnston nothing from Valley Stadium. Back with the second quarter in 1 minute here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
thousands in Waukee. Schottenkirk Chevy, Waukee. 2019 Silverado 1500 Double Cab up to 25% off. 2019 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab, LT or RST up to 20% off MSRP. Or up to $5,000 off plus 0% for 72 months. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. 2019 Colorado up to $7,000 off or $5,000 off plus 1.9% for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months. These won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy, Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Every month or so, there's another story in the media about when and how often we need to get our mammograms. Kind of confusing. When this happens, I like to consult with experts. So I called Iowa Radiology. They recommend women get an annual mammogram starting at age 40. They know that it's the best way to detect cancers early and save lives. And that's good enough for me. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule your mammogram. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
And we're back here at Valley Stadium, underway in the second quarter, and Johnston on a 4th and 5 from their own 47. They aired it out, tried to find their receiver on a go route down the far sideline. Pass was overthrown and incomplete, and Matt Thompson, the intended receiver for the Johnston Dragons, and it'll bring up 4th down, and the punter, who is also the starting quarterback, is Jack Rutz, and he'll stay in, but Johnston trying to go over the top there, Matt.
They took a deep shot there, and the receiver had a couple steps on the defender. Rutz overthrew him a couple steps, and now he stays in the punt. All
right, and Rutz punts it away and ends up going out of bounds inside the 25 of Dowling. So the Maroons are going to get pretty decent field position. They're going to walk it up to the 27. So that's where Dowling will start. 1st and 10 from their own 27. 11:47 remaining second quarter. Dowling 7, Johnston nothing here on Iowa Catholic Radio. And tonight we're simulcasting with the folks at Central Iowa Sports Network. CISN.TV is on their webcast. And let's go down to the Shields sideline reporter tonight, and that is John Chido on the Dowling sideline tonight. John?
Well, Mark and Coach, I just kind of want to mention a couple guys that have been in and out, and they're keeping that defensive line fresh, which putting all that pressure. Eric Solis is getting a lot of looks tonight early, and he's been rotating with Theo Davis. Same with Nick Wilkinson at one of the defensive spots.
And thank you, John, for that report. Tegan Johnson on 1st down from his own 27, right up the gut over the right side of that offensive line, and he picks up 1st down yard. He's crossed the 35, and they're going to spot him down just over the 40. We'll call it the 41 for a nice pickup that time of 14 yards and a Dowling 1st down.
This offensive line is starting to get it figured out right now, and they're starting to open up holes for Tegan, and we're starting to see those lanes become more consistently open.
All right, Hank Hemrick, the Dowling quarterback, he has 2 receivers left, one to the right. And in the backfield is Tegan Johnson, fires it out, and a little quick slant caught by Matt Stillwell. That's his second catch of the night, and he's got a 1st down. Quick slant down inside the 45 of Johnston. They'll spot him down at the Dragon 44.
Nice pitch and catch there. Matt broke his route off on a perfect cut and got the inside step, and Hank hit him in stride, and those are the things you like to see to keep some consistency in the offense. Pass, run, and away we go.
And you like balance. Well,
yeah.
A 14-yard run by Tegan, and now a 15-yard catch by Stillwell. Now Hank's going to have to keep the football. He had a little bit of duress under him and kept the football and got it inside the 40, and they're going to spot him down right around the 37-yard line apparently, so he'll pick up 6, maybe 7 yards on the scramble.
It was hard to tell if that really was a quarterback draw almost. I mean, as quickly as he pulled it down and ran, he didn't see anybody. It was, the secondary was well covered. He pulled it and ran. That was a good run. The only thing at the end of that play is you hate to see Hank turn his back to the defenders and take a hit in the back, so keep your shoulders forward.
7-yard run for him. 2nd and 3, and here's Tegan Johnson. He runs outside the left tackle, kind of ran a lateral play, started out running east-west, and then turned upfield just as it got to the left hash and got it down to the 35 for a pickup of 2. That'll bring up 3rd and 1 Dowling from the Johnston 35-yard line.
When Louis comes off the field again, Louis Brooks, he just can't quite get that shaken out a little bit with his leg.
So 2-yard run by Tegan Johnson. The give is to Tegan Johnson. 1st down and more. Oh, he had a seam there. Caught from behind by the Dragons. Touchdown saving tackle by Tanner Rowland, number 21. But Tegan had the C parted after he went left, and he went right outside the numbers and was finally drugged down from behind at the 25, Matt.
The number he was watching was 77, Charlie Nank. And Charlie got his kid just sealed up real nicely and gave a lane for Tegan to take off.
10-yard run for Tegan Johnston as Dowling approaches the Bozen the Florist red zone. Hand up right up the gut to Tegan Johnston. He's hit and driven down by Colby Sweska, a young man we talked about in the pregame show, that left defensive end for Johnston, one of their returning starters. Not a whole lot of them, but 3 on the defensive side, and he made the stop and maybe a loss.
He made a nice play there, and he just swallowed Tegan up right away, and Tegan didn't have a chance.
Loss of 2, they'll call it. So it'll be back to the 27-yard line. That's where Dowling will have it. 2nd and 12. Back to throw is Hemrick. Fires it out near side. Caught by Stillwell. Matt looking for a seam, and he's finally hit and dropped right at the 20-yard line. He'll pick up 7, and it'll bring up 3rd and 5 for Dowling at the Johnston 20-yard line.
Well-designed play. The line comes out, and you get 2 offensive linemen out there in front of Matt. They fake the ball to the right, come back to the left, and Matt's on the screen, and the 2 linemen up there in front of him, and was really close to being a big play. And Cal Killian for the Dragons came up and made a nice stick on Matt.
8:40 remaining, second quarter. Quarterback draws, and that's quarterback Hank Hemrick. He spins his way into a first down as he got inside the 15 and finally wrapped up at the 12-yard line. 8-yard run for quarterback Hank Hemrick, and Dowling with the first down at the Johnston 12 as the Maroons now are in the Bozen the Florist red zone. Say more with Bozen online at bozen.com. 515-244-ROSE. That's 515-244-7673. Great run by quarterback Hank Hemrick.
That was a good run, good read by him, and shook the one blocker and got to that second level. The only thing again is he turned his back. Just don't like to see your back get exposed there, especially your quarterback when they're running.
All right, Hemrick on the read option. He'll give it to Tegan Johnston, left side, and he's trying to get around the corner and finally runs into the boundary on the near side and run out of bounds at the 7-yard line. So he'll pick up 6 yards for the Maroons, and it'll bring up 2nd down and 4. Dowling can get a first down, Matt, just inside the 3-yard line.
Nice run out there, a little stretch zone play for Keaton to get outside the numbers there, or Tegan to get outside the numbers, and well done. Cal Killian again on the stop for the Dragons.
And now penalty flags down as the Maroons line up 2 receivers to the right and 1 to the...
They're going to call timeout.
And a timeout on the field, so we'll take a 1-minute break, 8:06 remaining, second quarter. And it's Dowling 7, Johnston nothing. When we come back, Dowling will have the ball. 2nd and 4 in the Johnston 7 here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Mid-American Energy and you, together partnering to change the energy landscape by pioneering money-saving, energy efficiency programs and building a new industry in Iowa, wind energy, all while keeping your rates low. So what's next? We'll keep delivering cost-effective energy efficiency programs while putting money back in your pocket. That's right. You decide how best to spend your savings. That's a partnership good for you, good for the environment, and good for Iowa. Another way we're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Save thousands in Waukee. Schottenkirk Chevy, Waukee. 2019 Silverado 1500 Double Cab up to 25% off. 2019 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab, LT or RST up to 20% off MSRP. Or up to $5,000 off plus 0% for 72 months. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. 2019 Colorado up to $7,000 off. Or $5,000 off plus 1.9% for 60 months. Or 2.9% for 72 months. These won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy, Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
And we're back here at Valley Stadium. Dowling now with the football to give us to Tegan Johnston. 2nd down from the Johnston 7. I'll tell you what, Dragons that time. Tegan he couldn't turn the ball upfield there, Matt, and he ran out of real estate, ran towards the near sideline boundaries. The play went left, and it'll bring up 2nd down, or rather 3rd down, and they're going to call it back to the 9-yard line, so he loses 2 yards.
You'll see that from the Maroons quite a bit, where they really like to run to the short side of the field, which is from the hash over to the sideline. When the ball's on the hash like this, I'll run that short side, and Tegan couldn't get squared up.
All right, back to throw and into the end zone with the pass, and it's a caught touchdown. Dowling. Hemrick rolled to his right, fired in the end zone, and it was Jackman. Josh Jackman with the catch, number 80, 5'11", 175-pound senior, and I believe that is his first touchdown of the year. He caught a 2-point conversion last week.
Yep.
And the Maroons now lead it 13-0 over Johnston. 7:54 remaining second quarter, pending the extra point here, Matt.
Hemrick, really nice throw. I mean, Jackman was covered. It's a great catch by Josh because he's just out in front of that defender, and that's a confidence builder for both of those young men.
All right, our Tamia and Sons extra point attempted by Jake Calvert of Dowling. And the extra point is up and good. Dowling leading 14-1. Don't forget, Toomey & Sons, located at 1501 Southeast 1st Street, Des Moines, 515-282-7676, or online, ToomeyandSons.com. It's Dowling 14-0 over Johnston with 7:54 remaining second quarter. Back in 1 minute on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
And we're back here at Valley Stadium as Dowling now scoring in their second possession of the night. Maroons lead it 14-0 over Johnston. And Dowling with the kickoff. And Matt, what happened on that return by Johnston?
On the kickoff there, Alvin Brisbane got loose a little bit on the outside, and Chris Housley, he came up from out of nowhere and made a great play out there on the edge and made the tackle on Brisbane. And and then after the scrum was done there, someone's still on the ground for Johnston. Can't quite tell who it is, if it's Brisbane that stayed down or not. The drive for the Maroons, just a solid drive. Offensively, you had the pass going, you had the run going, both Tegan Johnson, a bunch of players involved.
All right, let's go down to our Shields sideline reporter, John Chido, and that last drive by Dowling, quarterback Hank Hemrick, on a nice pass, Johnny, found Josh Jackman for his first touchdown reception of the year of 9 yards, and the extra point by Calvert was good. 11 plays, 73 yards on the Dowling drive, Johnny.
Yeah, those are the drives you want to have. Just keep the chains moving and go on those long drives that take a lot of time off the clock. I think they were running a lot of outside zone plays, that stretch play as Dowling would call it, to Tegan, and then they came back and did a boot. So they faked the stretch one way, and then Hank Hemrick was able to roll out the opposite way and made a nice throw to where only Jackman could catch the football.
Yeah, they are. Thank you, John, for that report from the Dowling sideline. And that's the second consecutive drive, Matt, as they're still attending to the injured Johnston player, and that is Brisbane, as you thought it was, Alvin Brisbane, the 5'7" senior who's running back, receiver, and kickoff returner, and they're going to have to carry him off the field. I'm not sure a couple of his linemen are assisting him, so he must have a leg injury, and that is what you don't want to see in any type of game, and that happened right now.
I hate to see that young man go down, and I couldn't tell if he got his foot caught in the turf when Christian came up and got him, and so you hope he's going to be all right.
All right, Johnston with the first down from their own 29, 7:45 remaining second quarter. They'll put it on the ground, and the tailback, and that's Jordan Rush, the 5'8" senior, on the carry for Johnston, right up the gut, as he followed his offensive line. Up front for Johnston, Tyler Slagle, Hank Lucas, Eric Bowie is the center, the right guard, Marshawn Gunn, the lone returning starter on that offensive line, and Leighton Tankey, the right tackle. And he gets a couple yards up to the 32.
Theo Davis on the stop for the Maroons on that play.
So it's second down and 7 for Johnston. The quarterback is Jack Rutz. So we have Rush at tailback and Rutz, the quarterback, the sophomore. Play action fake, and he fires it out. Pass caught. That's Ben Brooks on the reception, the 6'2" senior with his first catch. He's also the backup quarterback. And Brooks makes the catch, and he turns the corner and gets across up to the 35, maybe the 36 for a gain of 4.
Again, those quick hitters, those seem to be the most effective things there for Rutz. He's good at throwing those, and it's been the most effective play for him. And Dowling is conceding, just letting everything happen in front of him and then making a play. And can you do that consistently and move the ball down the field? That's going to be the task that Johnston has.
All right, 3 receivers to the right. It's 3rd and 3 Johnston. Line of scrimmage is their own 36. 6.5 minutes remaining, second quarter. Dowling 14-0. The give is to the tailback, and he's swallowed under, maybe a loss, back to the 34-yard line, loss of 1 or 2. A lot of maroon jerseys in the backfield, And the tailback gets up for Johnston, a 2-yard loss for Jordan Rush.
The Maroons brought pressure on that play. They went straight man coverage in the defense, and that allowed Michael Keogh to come up from his safety position, and they were really doing a blitz. And Johnston ran, which sometimes that can be a little bit of a gamble there, but the Dowling defense swallowed it up at the line of scrimmage.
All right, back deep for Dowling. Matt Stillwell, he'll stand right around his 30-yard line. The quarterback, Jack Rutz, will be back to punt for Johnston. He'll stand at his own 21. The sophomore awaiting the snap from his long snapper, and that is Jaden Mueller, and gets the kick away. High end over end kick, bounces at the 45 of Dowling. Now takes a Johnston roll inside the 20, and they're going to down it right around the 16-yard line. So a beautiful punt that time by Jack Rutz of Johnston, and Dowling will have it 1st and 10 from their own 16-yard line, as they pushed it back with 5:27 remaining here in the first half.
With Louis Brooks out of the game, that left Matt Stillwell back there by himself.
It certainly did. I want to thank Ashworth Vision, Construction Professionals, and Dental Associates for supporting our broadcast all season long on Iowa Catholic Radio. Now let's go down to our Shield sideline reporter, and that is John Chido. Good defense that time by the Maroons.
Yeah, they've been good all night. They're getting a lot of pressure. A lot of guys rotating in and out on that defensive line to keep guys fresh and continue to put the pressure on the quarterback. And the secondary linebackers, it's been a team effort, though, all around for the Dowling defense tonight.
And Tegan Johnston gets the carry on first down from his own 16. Penalty flag down. Tegan carries it up to about the 20-yard line, gain of 4. We'll see what the penalty's about, as it was thrown as Tegan was almost brought down.
Colby Sweska on the stop there for the Dragons. Hard to tell what that's going to be.
Let's try to pick up our field mic here. And they're going to get Dowling's number 53, Nolan Sinnott, the center, for holding, and that'll back the Maroons up. That's a spot penalty, so that'll be 10 yards marked off from the spot or where the referee threw the flag, Matt.
You know, for one of those, it was one of those things that really cost the Maroons a lot last year, was holding, and fortunately we have not seen much of that so far this year.
So Dowling back to the 9-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 17. Tegan Johnston in the backfield. Hemrick quarterback draw. He'll keep it. He's got some room across the 15 and gets up near the original line of scrimmage, if not a little bit further, as he crosses the 15 up to about the 18. They'll call it for a 9-yard gain.
You get almost all the yards back there on that play, and Johnston was doing a lot of run around at the line of scrimmage before the snap of the ball.
All right, the Maroons keep the ball on the ground on 2nd and 8, and a short gain up to the 20-yard line for the Maroons as Johnson swallowed up the Tegan Johnston at the bottom of the pile, or Hemrick.
I think it was Hemrick on the bottom. Hemrick kept it on that play, and the play before, Johnston was doing a lot of shifting up front, and Dowling kind of caught him in it and allowed Hemrick to fly through and get about a 13-yard gain. Now we got 3rd and 6. Looks like here for the Maroons.
4:20 remaining, first half. Play action fake. Back to throw Hemrick. Now scrambles to his right. Runs towards the sideline. Unloads it, and he threw it away incomplete. And he took a hit as he went out of bounds. And that'll force a 4th down. And the Johnston defense steps up. 4th and 6 Dowling as the pass is incomplete from their own 20-yard line. The Maroons will send in their punting team.
Hank, as he rolled there with the ball on that hash, he rolled to his right, and he doesn't have much room. You know, in high school football, those hashes are wider, and when you get outside there and you boot out to that side, there's not a lot of room for him to make a play, and he just ran out of space.
All right, Deontay Gerke, the starting linebacker for Dowling, in the punt. He'll stand back at his 5-yard line. And back deep is Jordan Rush for Johnston, awaiting Gerke's punt. 4:11 remaining in the half. Both teams with 2 timeouts remaining, and now we've got a stoppage, and I think we've got either a timeout or delay. We'll see.
I think the Maroons were able to call a timeout.
All right, we'll take a 1-minute break. 4:11 remaining, first half. It's Dowling 14-0 over Johnston. Back in 1 minute here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Schottenkirk Ford Indianola's kickoff event this month only. Take $16,000 off MSRP on every brand new 2019 Ford F-150 Crew Cab XLT 4x4 in stock. Plus, first responders receive an additional $1,000 bonus cash on new 2019 F-150 Super Duty, Expedition, and Ranger. New 2019 Fusion and Escape starting at just $18,999. Ford fans drive to Indianola to buy Fords. A kickoff event. Schottenkirk Ford Indianola. SchottenkirkFord.com.
Nice stuff.
Holy smokes.
And the punt by Dowling on fourth down. Gerke unloads a punt, and great coverage by the Dowling special teams as they cover it inside the 35. Is that Schultz again?
Yeah, Owen Schultz down the field and just made a great play on that one right there, and a great punt by Deontay. I can see why he's punting now.
Yes, you can. And Deontay Gerke with the punt. John Chido, our Shields sideline reporter, and I. Will that answer one of the questions about special teams, John, with a play like that?
Absolutely. And Coach Wilson called a timeout because Johnston was coming after that kick. They made a good adjustment, and Gerke had a nice kick that we just saw in great coverage downfield.
Yeah, it certainly was. So first down, Johnston at their own 31-yard line. They'll go to the ground. They'll keep it on the ground. Jordan Rush gets the handoff, and he was the punt returner that time that got snowed under by Owen Schultz, and gets a couple yards. This is going to put him up across the 35, up to the 36-yard line for a gain of 5. So nice run as Johnston. That's probably their best run of the night out of that tailback spot.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Mark. And they actually got something in between the tackles right there, and a positive play for them. And now they're taking a lot of time
between plays. Yeah. They're going to snap the ball under 10 seconds. 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Dowling 14, Johnston nothing. Johnston with the football. Read option that gives the rush to tailback. And he's hit and driven back in the backfield. Hit before he got to the 35 and driven back. And who was that young man that hit Jordan Rush of Johnston?
Trying to see if that's Will Linhart there, number 33. It looked like it was Will that came shooting through there, and he's not normally back there, and just made a great play back there to stop the run game there for the Maroons.
A loss of 1, and it was Will Linhart, as we found out, making the stop. 3rd and 6 now for Johnston. Dragons have 2 timeouts left. Dowling down to 1. I noticed on the Dowling punt that the 3 up-backs were all kind of interchanging because Johnston was showing a different look. Great timeout by Coach Wilson. Back to throw. His quarterback Rutz fires over the left side, and the pass is incomplete as he tried to hit a receiver. And I believe that's big number 82, Tyler Moore, and he couldn't quite find him.
You know, they brought pressure that time again, and Rutz is a little slow getting up. I think he's going to be okay. The Maroons brought pressure there. They brought pressure from the edges, and Rutz didn't have much time to do anything and just threw the ball away down the middle of the field.
And stops the clock with 2:36 remaining. We have a timeout on the field. Luke Woodley was the intended receiver, number 19. We'll take a 1-minute break and be back. Dowling leads 14-0 here in the second quarter on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Moms typically get to make a majority of the healthcare decisions for their family. That can be a lot of pressure, but not for me, because I know the choice is ours. For medical tests like MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, and of course mammograms, ask your doctor to refer you to Iowa Radiology. They work around our hectic schedules, they're the best at what they do, and they're so great with my family. They truly care, and it shows. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule an appointment. Iowa Radiology.
You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community.
And we're back here at Valley Stadium. A little quick pass caught by Matt Stillwell, who made the punt reception. Now penalty flag down. Stillwell gets out of bounds at the Johnston 46, as the line of scrimmage was a Dowling 45 when this started.
Where they threw that penalty flag, you're really thinking that it's either a hold or a clip or something like that.
And you're right, it's a hold, and that'll negate the reception that time by Dowling's Matt Stillwell. Got it all the way down to the Johnston 46. The penalty will wipe this out. While we were away at break, timeout was called. And, of course, both teams got back. They only needed like 30 seconds of a timeout. And, of course, officials say, if you're both here, we'll play. So we got a little behind there. Apologize for that. But the punt was fielded by Matt Stillwell at the Dowling 46. And then Stillwell caught the pass that got it to the Johnston 46. But it was brought back. And now Dowling with the first down. Line of scrimmage is a Maroon 38-yard line. Back to throw is Hank Hemrick. And he tried to hit Matt Stillwell on a post route from the left side. And overthrew it incomplete here, Matt.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised right here, if Coach doesn't run it and try to choose some time off the clock. It's a good situational play right here. Hank kind of stared Matt down there on that play and tried to hit him on the same pattern that they ran earlier, where Matt ran that post pattern over the middle of the field, and trying to hit him in stride there and just missed him a little bit. And so here we go, second and long.
Yeah, 2nd and 17 for Dowling. 2 receivers each side of the formation. 1 back in the backfield, Tegan Johnston. Back to throws Hemrick. Lost it downfield for Stillwell, and the pass is incomplete. A lot of hand checking there between Matt and the defensive back, Trey Walker, for Johnson, number 4. But the pass is incomplete, and I'll bring up 3rd and long for the Maroons.
Matt didn't have a lot of choice there. The defensive guy had cover. He had position on him, and the ball was a little overthrown, and Matt's trying to fight his way around the defender to get to the football. And you see the Dragons here ran on a bunch of defensive players, a fresh group up front to try and chase Hemrick on this play.
I want to thank Skeffington's Formal Wear, along with R&R Realty and Catholic Tuition Organization, for supporting our broadcast all year long on Iowa Catholic Radio. And here's a read option. The give is to Tegan Johnston on 3rd and 17, a little draw play. And Tegan gets across the 40 up to about the 42-yard line. He'll gain 4. And with 1:40 remaining, the clock will continue to run, and Dowling will come up with 4th and 13 in the punting unit coming on the field for the Maroons.
The Dragons have 2 timeouts, and they're going to choose not to use them right here. And then Dowling's going to punt and let the clock run down here until probably be just about a minute left by the time Gerke punts it.
All right, Gerke in to punt for Dowling. Back deep is Quincy Hale, number 18. He'll stand back at his own 23. Gerke will punt it away from his own 30-yard line. Gets away. It's a nice kick. High spirally kick running to the near side. He lets it go, and it goes out of bounds inside the 15-yard line as Hale let it go for Johnston. And Dowling's got the Dragons pinned inside their 15-yard line, apparently.
Yeah, Gerke's uncorked 2 of them now in a row, and really is starting to get into a rhythm there as a punter, and he got a great bounce out of that one. It'd be interesting to see if Rutz comes back on the field here. He was a little hobbled as he went off on that after that last series, which may explain why Johnston chose to kind of let the clock run down.
All right, Johnston will take over 1st and 10 from their own 18-yard line. Let's go down to our Shields sideline reporter, who's going to visit with Coach Tom Wilson at halftime, and that's John Chido. Johnny, give us an update.
Hey, Mark, check with me. I think Dowling's had 5 possessions, and they've had 2 scores, and the other 3 were stalled by penalties, and they were forced to punt.
I'm looking it up right now. Give me a second here, but it is 1st and 10. Johnston from their own 18. Quarterback is Jack Rutz. Read option. The give is the tailback rush, and he struggles to get up to about the 17-yard line, and that, if he did, he might have lost the yard. I think he might have got back to the line of scrimmage. Go ahead, Matt. I'm going to look this up for Johnny.
You bet. Chris Housley on the stop there for the Maroons, as the defensive line is really starting to take control up front and not allowing much between the tackles. And when their longest run is a 5-yard run to this point between the tackles, you can say they're doing their job. And nice game here so far by Chris Housley at that linebacker position.
Well, Johnny, Dowling punted on their first possession, scored 2 touchdowns on their next 2, and then have punted on their last 2. So they're 2 out of 5 tonight, and now there's a pass, quick slant, incomplete.
The penalties stopped those drives. The penalties definitely stopped the last 2 drives for the Maroons. And it's kind of interesting there. Johnston threw the ball, stops the clock with 17 seconds left. Dowling's got 1 timeout, so regardless of what happens on this play, unless they get a first down, Dowling's going to get a chance to get the ball back.
That's a good point.
Or block the punt.
Yeah, the Maroons have 1 timeout left. Johnston has 2. Dragons will break the huddle with 17.8 seconds remaining. It's 3rd and 10, Johnston from their own 18-yard line. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. And the handoff is to their tailback, and that is Jordan Rush. He tries to get outside. Penalty flag down, and that'll stop the clock with 11 seconds. As he got it up to about the 19-yard line for a gain of 1, but we got a penalty on the backside of this. Let's pick up the mic.
Oh, they're going to call face mask.
Face mask, preliminary indication. They called it on the Maroons, and I believe it might have been on
Nick Wilkinson,
who I think's back after missing the first game, number 41, and they're going to advance the ball, and it's a first down Johnston. So Johnston will probably take a knee here with 11 seconds. They do have 2 timeouts, but it's a first down at the Dragon 34-yard line.
You're exactly right, Mark. They're going to put a guy way back, and they're going to take a knee here.
So penalty against Dowling. And the Dragons now will let the clock run out because they just started the clock. It shouldn't have. It was a first down. But then it was a running play. So
yeah, I suppose.
That'll end the half with Dowling leading 14-0 over Johnston. The Maroons have scored in 2 of their 5 possessions here in the first half. They were forced to punt twice and then scored twice, and have been able to not sustain anything, as you mentioned, Matt, with the penalties. Let's go down to the Dowling sideline at halftime. Dowling leading 14-0. John Chido has head coach Tom Wilson of Dowling.
Is that theirs?
Well, Coach, you had 5 possessions in the first half, 2 of which you were able to finish at touchdowns. The other 3 kind of stalled by penalties, and you were forced to punt. Johnston started out that way. The defense you've got a lot of guys in fresh and put a lot of pressure on Johnston's quarterback.
Well, we have defensively we've done a nice job. We were hoping we could. Offensively it's kind of been hit and miss, as you mentioned. We kind of stall, but we've got to play with a little bit more emotion and make the big play when it's there.
All right, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Thank you.
All right, John Chido with head coach Tom Wilson here at halftime. Appreciate that interview on our Shields sideline report. 14-0 Dowling leading Johnston here at the half. And let's take a look at our first half statistics as the Maroons have 155 yards of total offense. Johnston with just 34. The Maroons have 67 yards in the air, 88 yards on the ground. Johnston with 20 yards of passing and 14 yards on the ground. Does that surprise you, Matt?
That does not surprise me now.
Just the way the game has been.
Yeah.
All right, well, the Maroons leading 14-0. Let's take a look at some of the other numbers here at halftime. Johnston penalized once for 5 yards. Dowling 4 penalties for 35 yards. Dowling with 10 first downs, Johnston with 2. Quarterback Hank Hemrick at Dowling, 7 completions and 10 attempts. And for 65 yards, no interceptions, and he's thrown for a touchdown. For Johnston, quarterback Jack Rutz, who was 4 of 9 in passing for 20 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. And the leading ball carrier tonight, Tegan Johnston has 15 carries, 50 yards tonight. Hank Hemrick, Dowling quarterback, 8 carries for 38 yards. For Johnston, Jordan Rush, 9 carries for just 11 yards. And quarterback Jack Rutz, 1 carry for 3 yards. Leading receiver for Dowling has been Matt Stillwell tonight, 3 catches for 34 yards. Josh Jackman, 2 catches for 21 yards and a touchdown. And Louis Brooks, 2 catches for 12 yards. He was shaken up early in the first quarter. For Johnston, their leading receiver, Alvin Brisbane, was shaken up. He has 1 catch for 10 yards. And Cale Nessheim, 2 catches for 10 yards. So let's look at some of the numbers here at halftime. Again, Dowling with 155 yards of total offense, Johnston with 34. And Matt, before we go to break, your thoughts on the first half before we bring in Dr. Ryan for our halftime guest.
One of the things you saw Johnston doing was taking a long time in the huddle. They're really trying to slow the game down and take as much time offensively that they can, and it disrupts the flow of the game. And if you watch this first half, you're watching, it was disjointed. It was a slow first half.
All right, our halftime score once again, it's Dowling leading 14-0 over Johnston. Alongside Matt Maynard, I'm Mark Amadale. John Chido down on the Dowling sideline. I want to thank the folks from the Central Iowa Sports Network and Pete Tarpey and his crew for simulcasting tonight's game on their webcast. And we'll be back with our halftime guest after this 1-minute break. Dr. Dan Ryan joins me here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Moms typically get to make a majority of the healthcare decisions for their family. That can be a lot of pressure, but not for me, because I know the choice is ours. For medical tests like MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, and of course mammograms, ask your doctor to refer you to Iowa Radiology. They work around our hectic schedules, they're the best at what they do, and they're so great with my family. They truly care, and it shows. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule an appointment. Iowa Radiology.
Mid-American Energy and you, together partnering to change the energy landscape by pioneering money-saving, energy efficiency programs and building a new industry in Iowa, wind energy, all while keeping your rates low. So what's next? We'll keep delivering cost-effective energy efficiency programs while putting money back in your pocket. That's right. You decide how best to spend your savings. That's a partnership good for you, good for the environment, and good for Iowa. Another way we're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
And welcome back to halftime here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network. Mark Amadale along with Matt Mainring, John Chido. I'm joined by Dr. Dan Ryan, the president of Dowling Catholic High School. Dr. Dan, thanks for joining us as we simulcast tonight, radio, TV. I'm glad you dressed up like I did. Appreciate you coming here, and good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Mark. It's good to be here, and great to have football going here.
Absolutely, and as we start our third game of the high school football season, you're starting your third year as president of Dowling Catholic High School. I remember talking to you in year one, and have things changed since then?
You know, it's been a wonderful experience, and my joke is I know where all the closets are and everything else in the building, but no, honestly, it's a lot easier as you come into your third year and have had time to really learn the personnel and the traditions and the culture, and really kind of inspires you just to think about how you want to help lead a group of individuals to add to that sense of tradition, to add to that foundation for the next generation of Dowling Catholic High School.
Sure. Well, you know, school just started here less than a month ago. I was adding up the days, and I have a daughter that at home that'll be going to Dowling here in a few years, and I always add those days up. I said, not quite a month into school, but talk about how it's gotten at Dowling. I mean, this is your third year. What's going on in the classrooms? I know there's a lot of things going on, activities, a lot of things for the kids to do, along with learning in the classroom. What's been some of the highlights?
Well, in the classroom, there's a lot of new things that are going to be happening this year. In fact, as we've continued to push ourselves and say, what is it we need to do to make sure our students are as prepared as they can to go on for additional education and then even into a career, we are going to start instituting, actually taking the ACT at school during your junior year. And so that's a new switch. It's something that kind of removes a barrier for a few students and also shows the importance we put on that. But almost more importantly than that, our freshmen and our sophomores then will start to take a pre-ACT exam. And what that allows us to do is really look at those results because they're meant to prepare the students for those, for the ACT, and then start to work with them on the areas they need to improve upon. We've already been looking at trends in general with our students and what classes they need to take. Do we need to get more students into an Algebra 2 class at an earlier age? Those sorts of things, advanced composition. And it really just allows us to make sure they can do the best they can and show the best they can. So that's one thing that's really exciting about the classroom.
Visit with Dr. Dan Ryan, the president of Dowling Catholic High School here at halftime. Dowling leading Johnston 14-0 here in the football game, and not a bad crowd here for week 3. And you know, Dr. Dan, you look, and Dowling's a place with a lot of history, many traditions. And what are some of the new things happening at Dowling? Maybe some new traditions starting, because us alumni, we know some of the old traditions, and they are very good. But talk a little about that to our listeners and viewers.
Well, you know, there's a lot happening, and some of the things that we're really excited about take us in a few different realms. One of those would be Ut Fidem. We've talked a little bit about this program, but this is really a small group Bible study or a conversation group where they talk about their faith with a mentor. And with this new tradition, really what we're starting to see is at the beginning of this school year, we already had 165 students that were working in some of those groups. And then also, usually that number doubles by the end of the school year. And so to have 300 or 400 of our upperclassmen typically already getting in those groups is really a new tradition overall that we're really excited about. And something that we think is just going to make it an even better situation.
Well, that's tremendous. And do I dare ask you, you said students, what is the enrollment? Do you have that number, or do we have to get Rachel, your secretary, to
No. That's one that we keep a close watch on. We're up again this year, so that's the third or fourth year in a row.
That's
and
tremendous.
We're up to about 1,420 students. And a great thing to have, we always have about 86% of our 8th grade students from the Catholic parochial schools come over. And then that typically means we have about 50 or 60 public school students that come as well. And so that's a great mix, and we take a lot of time to work with them. And actually that'd be another new tradition we're looking at for next school year. we might be looking at some changes in the schedule and potential of what we call kind of a Dowling freshman class. And within that, we would take time to really teach the students about what Dowling's traditions are, our culture. And really one of the things that I'm excited about is focusing about leadership in that class. You know, we talk about creating leaders for life centered on Christ. And to me, that really means they're servant leaders, because Christ was really a servant to all of the apostles and to everyone else. And so we're going to take some time to really think through what could be included in that course to make sure freshmen walking in understand why they're fortunate to be at Dowling, what they should be trying to do and experience, and how the rest of their lives should really carry that forward.
You know, faith is a big part of Dowling Catholic High School. It was there 40 years ago when I was there, and it is now. And talk a little about that. You know, how are students living their faith, not only this year, but how does the staff and the administration interact with the students' faith?
So there's a lot of different ways that we do that, and of course one of the most important ways is we role model that with our through our staff and through our teachers. I make sure that I talk to the staff on a regular basis about those things and keeping those things at the forefront in everything that we do. And of course we have a lot of opportunities to do that. One special thing though we're excited about this year with Iowa Catholic Radio is Father Ricardo is coming.
Yes, he is.
So he has a show on Iowa Catholic Radio, and we really have designed this program in partnership to really meet our needs. And with that, we specifically wanted to make sure he has such a great message and he's such a great evangelizer that we wanted him to really get to our students. But we also have set aside a time that he can work with our faculty. And then something that I think is a little new to our approach is that we have a night set aside for our students' parents to attend. And again, we are the partners of the parents, but the parents are the primary educators of their children in the faith. And so we're just trying to give them an opportunity really for some faith development as well, and something that the whole family can really circle around. So we're excited about this. It's kind of a new experiment for us.
That'll be, I believe, in the first Saturday in December. Father Ricardo comes to town.
I do believe so.
No wonder they need all the room down at, it's the Veterans Memorial Auditorium downtown, the big hall, and that's where we're going to hold the dinner.
For the Saturday evening.
For the Saturday event, but he's involved with that. I did not realize that, and that is tremendous, Dr. Ryan.
Yes, we're really looking forward to it, and it's really just one of those things that allows us to bring that mission to life in a very different way.
Again, we're visiting with Dr. Dan Ryan, the president of Dowling Catholic High School, in his third year at the school. Mark Amadale here at halftime. Dowling leading Johnston 14-0, and Dr. Ryan, you talk about the relationship between parishes in the diocese and Dowling Catholic High School. That's a big relationship, and I know you've been kind of nurturing that relationship. As a Dr. Deacon, your predecessor, talk about that and the relationship between the Catholic schools and Dowling.
So, of course, one thing that I always like to point out is we sometimes we're viewed as a separate entity, but really we're a part of the parishes. And in that, we're serving those high school students, and we're there for all of the Catholic children, whether or not they're enrolled in the Dowling Catholic at this time. And so I think it's just, we've had an opportunity to sit down with a large number of the pastors in Des Moines and talk about what is it we're trying to accomplish, how does our efforts that exist complement what they're doing. But then we're getting to the point of saying, what programs can we have that help our students get into the parishes? How do the parishes get into Dowling Catholic High School? And so some really good examples already exist, and we're going to try and strengthen those and add a few new ones. One thing that I didn't realize, I knew we had students that were teaching religious ed or faith formation on Wednesday evenings to students. But there's actually a seminar period during our school day that those students can come and get some extra support on how to do that and work on that. And so we're going to try and push that a little harder to see if we can increase the number of students from Dowling that are going back to their parishes and helping out either probably with some of the younger students there. We've always encouraged our students to be, after their confirmation, to be Eucharistic ministers, both at Dowling and back at the parishes. So this year, if all goes well, we would be sending a special invitation from the pastors and myself to them to encourage them to take advantage of that. We have many students in our band and in our choral programs that have tremendous talents that they can take back and serve at the parishes as well, and so we're going to try and encourage those. But really, I think the main thing is almost mindset of saying, how are we a partner and how do we work together? And I think the more communication we can have around that with our parishes, and that's where if we can get our pastors and some of our youth ministers into our school and into our summer programs, and we're seeing more of that, we're going to be more successful on both sides. And so I'm really pleased about the possibilities we're seeing there.
I'll work on my brother at that parish up in Ankeny.
Well, that would help.
You know, I'll start with him, and then he can kind of lead the way.
That's right.
After all, he is like the second in command, or they call it the parochial vicar or something like
Vicar
that.
General.
Vicar General, thank you.
That's right.
I knew he had some kind of title like that. Dr. Dan Ryan, the president of Dowling Catholic High School, is my guest here on halftime. Dowling leading Johnston 14-0. The guy behind the camera, I bet he turns it, but the principal, Mr. Maynard, he's doing a pretty good job on Football Friday. I'm not going to ask about the administrative part, but on Football Friday, is he doing okay? Is he not pronouncing enough kids' names? Can you get some help there, Dr. Dan?
I have to do his evaluation at work.
I understand.
This is not work related, so I'm busy working down there. This is recreation for him, I think, at this point.
Well, you pulled him out of game one, the Waukee week, and he had to go down and assist Mr. Gray with something down with the student body, so I know he got pulled into duty right off the way, but he came back. That was a good thing.
That's good. Well, he is reliable in that sense.
Yes,
he shows up from day to day and does a great job for us. And, Mr. Manning really does, and all of our assistant principals, and really, people always talk about Tom Wilson as a football coach, but I talk about him as an athletic director.
Absolutely.
And how much that adds to our mission. So I've been extremely fortunate to walk into an administrative team that's very, very positive, and I greatly enjoy working with and have a great deal of trust for, and respect.
Well, Dr. Ryan, we appreciate Iowa Catholic Radio on behalf of the executive director, Tony Calumet, and the rest of the board. We appreciate working relationship with Dowling Catholic High School. Mr. Mainring, yourself, the staff, the Maroon Moment we have once a week with the kids that kind of bring us up to date. And, of course, these football Fridays and the basketball during the year, we kind of keep things up to date. We at least try during our broadcast. But we appreciate the relationship with you and Dowling High School for many, many years. 43 years covering Dowling football, and we're glad. I hope it continues more.
Oh, we love it, and we're just glad to see it expanding. And, again, it's just another part of the mission overall that we're all working towards. So thank you.
Thanks for being here tonight, Dr. Ryan. And go root on the Maroons the second half, and I'll try to keep Mr. Mainring in line here on the broadcast.
You'll keep your hands full there.
All right. Dr. Dan Ryan, president of Dowling Catholic High School, has been my guest here at halftime. Dowling leading Johnston 14-0. Mark Amadale, Dr. Dan Ryan will return with Matt Maindring and John Chido after these messages here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury. Whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
Save thousands in Waukee. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. 2019 Silverado 1500 Double Cab up to 25% off. 2019 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT or RST up to 20% off MSRP or up to $5,000 off plus 0% for 72 months. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. 2019 Colorado up to $7,000 off or $5,000 off plus 1.9% for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months. These won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Dowling leading Johnston 14-0, and reach over here, Matt. Appreciate having Dr. Dan Ryan. Hard to believe it's his third year at Dowling, being the president as he replaced Dr. Jerry Deegan. And I'll tell you what, Dr. Deegan hasn't really retired. He's been on his board. He's got a big thing he's been heading up, and our shout out to him. I know he listens from time to time wherever his travels may be. I know he's been in Chicago quite a bit visiting his family, but what a job he's done. And pass the torch to Dr. Ryan, and man, he's got a lot of things going for you guys on faculty there at Dowling.
We do. We have a busy place and just a lot of things moving in the right direction, and it takes a lot of people working together to get things going forward in the right direction. That's what we have, and as Dr. Ryan alluded to, we just have a great team that works together and communicates well. And one thing about Dowling, when you walk in as someone working there, it's check your ego at the door, where everybody's just going to get in there and go to work and do what's best for kids traditions of what Dowling is about, and it really is a fun place to be.
Yeah, Dr. Ryan touched a lot about that during his interview, so we want to thank him for that. We also want to thank our supporters of Iowa Catholic Radio. They've been with us all season long, including Kemen, Mercy One, and Two Rivers Glass and Door. Our good friend and alumnus, Joe Paul Peter, heads up his family business there at Two Rivers Glass and Door. I want to give a shout out to Joe. He and I are class of 1980, and we'll have our 40th reunion coming up next summer, I believe.
10 years from now, is that what?
Yeah, no, it's 40 next this coming summer. We appreciate that. Hey, Matt, let's take a look at the scoring in the first half. And Dowling with 2 touchdowns in this contest. Quarterback Hank Hemrick scored with 1:27 remaining in the first quarter on a 3-yard run, capping off a 10-play, 44-yard drive that was set up by Louis Brooks's punt return of 15 yards. It got Dowling down to the Dragon 44-yard line, and the extra point by Calvert was good. Dowling led 7-0, and then the Maroons come back in the second quarter. Josh Jackman with his first touchdown reception of the season. He's already caught a 2-point conversion, this time from 9 yards out from quarterback Hank Hemrick. Extra point by Calvert good. Dowling capping off an 11-play, 73-yard drive. Both drives took right around 4 minutes to make the touchdown, and that is taking time off the clock and being, trying to get as many plays in. Coach likes doing that. He try to get a lot of plays in. There's no huddle, but yet a time-consuming drive of 4 minutes, and keeping that Johnston offense off the field, which the Dowling defense has held in check throughout most.
They really have held them in check. I don't know how many first downs they've got. I couldn't remember when we looked at the stats. If it was
Coach
1 or 2,
Coach took his iPad.
It really is very limited in what they've been able to do on offense, and. It gets you it allows the Maroon offense, Dowling offense, to get the ball back right away and make moves. And early in the game, there were 3 special play teams or events there that didn't start well. The first 3 special teams plays, I think Coach Wilson would say, were negative plays. Since then, every special teams play has been a positive outcome, and so you see the change in that, and that's what maturation does with a group of kids as you move forward. And you're starting to see the positives come out of it.
You certainly do, and I don't know if John Chido is back out of the locker room or if he went near the locker room. Johnny, are you on the Dowling sideline? You have an update for us?
I am, Mark. I think Coach Wilson kind of alluded to it. They need to finish drives, and by doing that, you got to get away from penalties. And as we mentioned earlier, that the only times their drives stalled is when they played behind the chains and they're forced to punt. Because the 2 times that they were able to put points on the board, there was no penalties, and it was long, sustaining drives, took some time off the clock, and they were able to do a lot of different things with running the football and throwing some routes. So I think that's kind of their focus, is kind of be penalty-free and finish drives.
Well, you mentioned penalty-free. You want to be injury-free, and I know Louis Brooks was shaken up. You got an update on Louis' leg injury, apparently.
Yeah, Louis out for the rest of the game, and kind of undetermined on whether he'll be available for next week or not.
Okay, well, appreciate that, and that's not good news. That's a playmaker for Dowling. We've seen him take over and make some big catches when he needed to. Got the Maroons in that game against Valley and helped with the win over Waukee. And having Louis Brooks, well, it's next man in and next man to step up, and you need a playmaker. Matt Stillwell certainly fit the bill along with Tegan Johnson. And if folks are wondering, Gavin Williams is dressed tonight. You'll see number 21 on the sideline. I see him right there down towards the 20 to the 30-yard line. But he is dressed but will not play. Next week is a target date, Dowling at Ankeny Centennial. And, of course, Centennial, the number 1 team in the state right now, replacing Dowling. So we'll see if he's ready to go next week, Matt, as everybody kind of anticipates Gavin's return.
One of the things with Louis, early in the year, you're going to be overcautious. And as you play for November, you want that young man to be fully healed. There's no sense chancing anything at this point. And so you sit him, get him rested, and get him ready to move, get him back on the field soon.
All right, Johnston will kick off. That's Jack Rutz, who's also their quarterback. And he angles it to the far sideline. It picked up at about the 15-yard line, spinning out of a tackle and returning it. I believe it's Chase Hauschild.
Yeah, that was Chase.
And so Chase is the backup tailback to Tegan Johnson. And we've seen him in there. He may get some reps at receiver with the injury to Louis Brooks. So Dowling with the first down at their own 25-yard line, looks like, Matt.
Nice return there by Chase, and got a lot of positive yards. He had to run a long way up to catch that football, caught it in motion, and added some yards onto it, and gives Dowling the football at 25. Nice field position to start the second half.
It certainly is. Andrew Lynch comes out. He'll be the tight end. He'll line up on the left side, number 89. Quarterback is Hank Hemrick, number 12. In the backfield, Tegan Johnston, number 31. Read option. The give is to Tegan. Right up the gut he goes. Breaks a tackle. Puts his head down. And struggles maybe to the 30-yard line for a pickup of almost 5 before he's brought down there. Bring up 2nd down and 5 for Dowling.
Jake Till just on the stop for the Dragons as Tegan really deliberate behind the line of scrimmage. You see him just kind of jog up to the line of scrimmage and then explodes as that line opens things up for him. And, as you start to establish that run game, the old option coach in me, 5 yards is a great first down run.
Absolutely. All right. Stillwell split out left for the other formation for Dowling. 3 receivers right. They'll throw to Stillwell. Pass is caught. Slips a tackle at the 40. Still on his feet. Almost got tripped up and finally ran out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Nice job by Matt Stillwell. A catch of 18 yards. A Dowling first down as they had him isolated at the top of the formation. And 3 receivers right, but Matt was a lone receiver to the left.
They're playing a little soft coverage there on Matt and allowing him to just, Hank, to throw that ball out to him, and then the coverage comes up, and Matt was able to dance out of that first tackle and get a big gain for the Maroons.
Yeah, 17 yards officially, 1st and 10 Maroons. They'll go back to the ground game, hand off Tegan Johnston, breaks a tackle, bowls his way down into Johnston territory at the Dragon 45. He'll pick up 9 yards and pick up 2nd and 1 for the Maroons.
And it looked like it was Caleb Hilgeson, and I couldn't tell who the other young man was there for it looked like maybe number 4, Trey Walker on the stop. Tegan just exploded to the line of scrimmage. And right now you're seeing the Maroons run, pass. What a balance you have.
Pretty good mixture. 2nd and 1 Maroons. Hemrick, read option. The give is to Tegan Johnston. First down and more inside the 40 and drags tacklers down to the Dragon 38-yard line. And a nice gain that time for Tegan as he picked up the Maroon first down right over center and right guard. And I'll tell you what, we say right guard a few times tonight. Jake Olson got his first start, number 58, the junior, as he replaced Tyler Stein. And Ryan Bowles moving over from guard to tackle. But he's doing a nice job.
He is doing a nice job. Zach Swiger was playing at that fullback position. He got through the line of scrimmage, then maybe the block. And he's up there leading Tegan.
All right, 11-yard gain, and Dowling back to the ground gain, and the quarterback Hank Hemrick will keep it, and he goes from his own 37 down to the 35, or rather the Johnston 37 down to the Dragon 35 for a pickup of 2.
One of the things Coach Wilson was looking for out of his offense was tempo and momentum, and this drive is finally starting to show that. They're getting up to the line of scrimmage, they're running plays, they're starting to establish a tempo.
All right, Hemrick, the handoff. This time Tegan Johnston with the football. Penalty flag down on the backside, and Tegan goes down at the 30 for a gain of 5, but this may be coming back with 9:44 remaining here in the third quarter. Dowling leading 14-0 here on Iowa Catholic Radio on the Central Iowa Sports Network. Penalty flag on the play. I want to thank Kemen, Mercy One, and Two Rivers Glass and Door. Now the penalty. As the referee tonight is Jerry Kinder, and holding call on the Maroons.
It's, it must have been pretty obvious. There were 2 flags. A lot of times you don't get 2 flags on a holding call there, and so it makes a negative play there for the offense and puts them in a hole. And as John alluded to at half, that's one of those things that's been stopping these Maroon drives, and so let's see what they can overcome that now.
Yeah, ball moved back to the Johnston 45. Hemrick direct snap. He'll keep it around the right side. Gets a block from Tegan Johnson and Hank Hemrick, rather, around the right side and knocked out of bounds inside the 40. So he got some of those yards back at the right about the 38, they'll call it. He'll pick up 7 yards.
Jake Tilges for the stop there and Johnston, and as they shortened the field, and as Hank went around the corner, he just ran out of room and couldn't get that ball turned upfield. So you got to think it's going to be 4-down territory here.
I would guess it's 3rd and 11 for the Maroons. Ball in the Johnston 38. Dowling leading 14-0 here in the third quarter from Valley Stadium. Gorgeous night. Temperature in the mid-70s, low humidity, and a nice breeze. And quarterback Hemrick with 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. Here's the snap. Hemrick looks right, fires it that way. It's caught by Stillwell. Slips another tackle, got the first down, and he's right out of bounds inside the 25. They'll spot him down at the 21 of Johnston. That's good enough for a 17-yard reception. And I'll tell you what, Matt Stillwell is showing his strength. He's slipping that first tackle not once, but at least 2 or 3 times tonight.
You see his athleticism on the basketball court, and it's starting to show up here. He's able to stiff arm and get his way out of that thing. That after he caught that pass, he was able to wiggle through and break a tackle. And and a real positive play there for the Dowling.
We approach the 9-minute mark here in the third quarter. Dowling by 2 touchdowns. Read option, and Hank Hemrick gives it to Tegan Johnston, and he bowls his way inside the 20 and spot him down, maybe forward progress to the 18, a gain of 3.
Colby Sweska to get them tripped up there at the line of scrimmage, and Tegan stumbles forward for a couple yards as Dowling sits here and tries to grind this opening drive out and establish this offense.
10th play of the Dowling drive, and they've overcome that 10-yard penalty a few plays ago. And here's a direct snap, and Hemrick will keep it, but they had the spy in the backfield, and he is hit and dropped in the backfield. Nice job by the Johnston defense. Tanner Rowland slipped a tackle and got in the backfield. A loss back to the 20-yard line, a loss of 2 there, Matt.
A little lead play, and Hemrick comes out and follows Tegan Johnson around the corner, and as you said, Rowland made a really nice play there and slipped a block and made a takedown. It looked like a wrestling move right there on Hemrick.
Yeah, you credit Rowland on that. So the Maroons now, as we approach the 8-minute mark, 3rd down and 9, Dowling. Line of scrimmage, the Johnston 20. Hank Hemrick at quarterback. 2 receivers left, 1 on the right. Hemrick wants to throw over the middle. He fires it to Stillwell. The pass is nearly intercepted by Johnston. That was Trey Walker who stepped in front of Stillwell on a quick slant from the right side. Pass broken up, and will bring up 4th down for the Maroons.
They've run that play now. It's about the 3rd time they've ran that play, and Trey Walker was thinking the same thing. I've seen this play and jumped the route. This is a pretty lengthy field goal. We're looking at a 37 or
37-yard field goal. So Dowling will attempt the field goal. The holder is Matt Stillwell, the intended receiver. Jake Calvert, the junior, will attempt it from the right hash, and the kick is up, and it's way off to the left. They're
going to get a roughing the kicker.
And a penalty flag down. You're exactly right. As the referee threw the flag, and Calvert went down, and we'll get the call here on the mic here. And Jerry Kinder is our referee tonight. We mentioned him, his crew of Scott Tryon, Scott Hale, Matt Stiles, and Brian Gibson. Penalty is against Johnston. Now it was 4th and 9, and will that be a 5-yard penalty? If it is, it'll bring up 4th and 4.
I think they called personal foul. Well, they did call the 5-yard penalty, yep.
So the penalty against Johnston, that'll move the ball.
Well, and that kick had no chance of getting there.
No, it didn't. To the 15-yard line, so they'll try it again. This time it'll be a 32-yard field goal for Calvert. Jekyll is the left-footed kicker. The hold by Stillwell. Ball down, kick high enough. Oh, it's long enough, and it is good.
That's a good kick.
First field goal of the year for Dowling. Place kicker Jake Calvert, the junior, hits from 32 yards out. Dowling extends its lead to 17-0. Back in 1 minute from Valley Stadium in West Des Moines here in the third quarter with 7:41 remaining. Dowling 17, Johnston 0 here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Central Bank is proud to support the unmatched spirit of sportsmanship and hard work exemplified by our local athletes. We're fans of high school sports and the way the big game and hometown team rally a community. Best of luck to all of today's competitors. Play hard, have fun, and make something great happen. Central Bank, member FDIC.
Every month or so, there's another story in the media about when and how often we need to get our mammograms. Kind of confusing. When this happens, I like to consult with experts. So I called Iowa Radiology. They recommend women get an annual mammogram starting at age 40. They know that it's the best way to detect cancers early and save lives. And that's good enough for me. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule your mammogram. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
Hey, we're back here at Valley Stadium, West Des Moines. Mark Amadale, Matt Maindring, and John Chido. 7:41 remaining, third quarter. Dowling goes 13 plays, 75 yards. Didn't get the touchdown, but Jake Calvert, a 32-yard field goal for the Maroons. A left-footer booted it through, and the Maroons lead at 17-0. Let's go down to the Dowling sideline. Looks like we're going to have a re-kick here, Matt. Let's go down to our Shield sideline reporter, and that is John Chido. Johnny?
Yeah, going to re-kick it. Dowling's was offsides on the kickoff, but it's been a game of penalties for the Dowling's offense, which has stalled some drive. They were fortunate enough to get 3 points on the board with that drive, but another penalty cost them and forced them to kick that field goal. So if Dowling's it doesn't have penalties. They move the ball and they're able to finish drives, and that's been the story of the night.
Yeah, John Cole, the sophomore, boots it for the Maroons, and it's picked up by one of the upbacks, a short kick. Brady Hovey on the return, picks it up to the 30 and gets it across the 35 up to the 37. That's where Johnston will start. 1st and 10 from their own 37-yard line with 7:41 remaining. Third quarter, Dowling leading 17-0, Matt Maindring.
Michael Keogh and Owen Schultz on the stop there as they on the coverage for that kickoff, and Dowling chose to squib kick everything so far tonight on all of our kickoffs, and it keeps it inbounds. You're pretty much guaranteed no long gain on the return, and so when your defense is doing this well, you can do that.
Exactly. You want to keep that ball rolling. You don't have to kick it deep. So first down, Johnston from their own 38-yard line, they'll call it, and a read option to give us to the tailback, and that is, I believe, Jordan Rush back there, and he's found it hard going. He didn't have a whole lot of rushing yards versus attempts in that first half, and may have gotten a few yards there. They move it up to the 40-yard line for a gain of 2.
Those were tough yards. Owen Schultz stood him up, and Deontay Gerke came up and finished him off, and that's great linebacker play. Those two playing the inside are really starting to find their rhythm, and it's good to see. That means that defensive front's doing their job and keeping them clean.
Yeah, pretty good offensive line for Johnston. They have 2 starters back from last year, and that's all the skills that are back. Play action on for second down. Rutz over the middle, fires it downfield. The pass is incomplete. The intended receiver was Matt Thompson, I believe. It was either him or Luton Woodley, and it broken up, and he threw that ball on a dime, but he did come up with it.
That was a nice throw by Rutz, and he had pressure on him, and I don't know if they had motion in the backfield, and all of a sudden there was a big cluster right around the quarterback, and he backed up, and part of that was Jackson Filer causing some of that, but he threw a ball and almost got it completed.
All right, 3rd and 7 now for Johnston on their own 40. Quarterback Jack Rutz now being flushed in the pocket as Filer tries to run him down. The pass incomplete in the far sideline. Matt Thompson again, the intended receiver, and he overthrew him. It'll bring up 4th and 7 for Johnston on their own 41-yard line with 6:52 remaining, and the Dowling punt return unit will go in minus Louis Brooks as they will bring in the young man who caught the touchdown pass, his first of the year for the Maroons, and that's Josh Jackman. So he and Stillwell back deep.
Yeah, the one time they didn't have 2 guys back, they had a really negative play as that ball hit and bounced an extra 10, 15 yards, and so they're back to their 2 deep on this punt.
All right, the quarterback, Jack Rutz, moves back to the punting position. He'll stand back at his own 27. Dragons going right to left towards the north end zone, and it gets it away into the wind. And it's fielded by Stillwell at the 30. Return is near side 40, and he drags tacklers out of bounds at the 43 as finally corralling was I think the punter. No, check that. It was Max Nielsen who made the tackle on Matt Stillwell.
After riding him and dragging him, Matt was dragging him for about 5 yards there as he pulled him forward. Good return there by the Maroons and gives this offense the ball back. Only about a minute off the clock since the last time they had the ball, and now the offense is back in gear again.
They certainly are. Tegan Johnson out at running back. We'll go down to John Chido following this play. The Maroons will line up in pistol formation. The fullback is Schwager. The tailback is Tegan Johnson. Back to throw is Hemrick. He's going to be hit in the backfield, and now he's going to be swarmed under by all the white shirts. So a first down from the Dowling 43, and that'll go backwards. They're going to spot forward progress at the 37, and he'll lose 6 yards on the play, it looks like.
A lot of pressure there on Johnston.
And let's go down to the Dowling sideline, and that is where our Shields sideline reporter is. John Chido, give us an update. Great job by the Maroon defense.
Yeah, I want to mention a couple people, Mark. Russell Pearson had a nice series there on the defensive tackle for Dowling, number 67. Jalen Pettis, number 55. Of course, Jackson Filer, number 91. Theo Davis, number 57, and they've had a nice game tonight so far for the Maroons.
All right, the Maroons go back to the ground game. They give it to Tegan Johnson, and he finds it going tough. Gets across the 35 and gets back to maybe the original line of scrimmage, and that's it. So no gain for Tegan. Great job by the defensive line for Johnson stepping up. So we'll bring up 3rd down and long for Dowling, 3rd and about 16.
This Johnston defense has had been on the field a long time.
Yes, they have.
Their offense has not produced many yards, many first downs, hasn't given them many chances. Right there, Colby Sweatskep made the stop there for the Dragons.
All right, back to throw is Hemrick on 3rd and 17. Hank airs it out downfield for Stillwell, and the pass is intercepted inside the 20-yard line. Johnston comes up with the interception by Cal Killian, and the Dragons will take over there, so that's just about as good as a punt on 3rd and 17. Johnston will take over from their own 18-yard line on the interception.
That's what I was going to say. That goes in the book as an interception, and it could have just as equally be a good punt. Because he was not going to complete that pass, and fortunately the young man, after he caught it, was down, and so the ball's at the 18-yard line, and now the defense is back on the field.
They certainly are. We want to thank tonight's supporters of Iowa Catholic Radio, Ashworth Vision Clinic, along with Construction Professionals, Dental Associates, and our good friends at Kemen. We want to thank them for being with us all year long. Don't forget, next week, Dowling on the road. For the next 2 weeks, we'll be at Ankeny Stadium. Next week, it's number 1 Centennial, and the following week, it's number 10 Ankeny on the Dowling schedule. Back to throw, quarterback Jack Rutsch throws it to the right side, and he throws into double coverage, pass incomplete. The intended receiver was Ben Brooks, who's also the backup quarterback, but he had 2 Maroons escorting him there right around the 45 of Johnston.
Johnston has to take a shot and do something. At this point in the ball game, they've got to do something to try to spur their offense, and Coach Woodley's looking at it and going, we got to take a shot downfield, try to do something. We can't run between the tackles against this team, and they're trying to make something happen.
All right, to bring up 2nd and 10, Johnston. Clock stop with 5:14 remaining 3rd quarter. Dowling leading 17-0. Here on a beautiful night at Valley Stadium, West Des Moines. Read option, and now the quarterback will keep it. It's a lateral pass, and it goes out of bounds. They're going to say it was a forward pass. He threw it to Ben Brooks, and now the referee is getting with the head linesman. They're going to call it incomplete. Because if it was a lateral pass, it'd be out of bounds where it went, which would be about the 14-yard line. So
it's a play where he faked the handoff, act like he's going to run, and then wings it out to the
slings it out more like it
slings it out there, and about 2 feet over the young man's head and out of bounds.
All right, 3rd and 10, Johnston from their own 18, and now we've got penalty flags down, and we got a timeout. Excuse me. Timeout, Johnston. So we'll take a 1-minute break. 5:09 remaining, 3rd quarter.
The Maroons got a break there.
And it's Dowling 17, Johnston nothing here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Central Bank is proud to support the unmatched spirit of sportsmanship and hard work exemplified by our local athletes. We're fans of high school sports and the way the big game and hometown team rally a community. Best of luck to all of today's competitors. Play hard, have fun, and make something great happen. Central Bank, member FDIC.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Welcome back to Valley Stadium. And back to throw is quarterback Jack Rutsch, and he swarmed under in the backfield, couldn't get the throw off, and it'll be a sack back at the 11-yard line, so a 7-yard loss, Matt.
Yeah, that's one of those. It's going to be a half and a half. That was half Jackson Filer and half Theo Davis.
I see.
Yeah, so
you're going to split it up.
They're going to share that one.
I see.
Nice pursuit there by the defensive line, and forcing them into a tough situation right here. And they got a different punter in. It is Stort.
Stortz, who's the starting quarterback, but he's injured, and he must be available to punt. You're right, number 15, Noah Stortz in to punt. He'll stand at his own 2-yard line, and he does get it away. And it's fielded by Dowling at the 41-yard line, and that's Josh Jackman with the return, and maybe for about a yard. So Dowling will have great field position. They'll start at the Johnston 40-yard line, I believe. They're going to park it inside to the 38 with 4:16 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Dowling leading 17-0. Let's go down to our Shield sideline reporter tonight, and that is John Chido. Johnny?
Dowling defense has been excellent all night, not allowing Rutsch to have any time to throw the football. And it's they've had receivers that were open, but he just doesn't have a time to get the ball downfield. So credit to the Dowling defensive line.
Yeah, no question about it. That was a tremendous sack for the Dowling defensive line. Maybe a coverage sack for the defensive backs, and now on play action, back to throw is Hank Hemrick, and he's swarmed under. Johnston white shirts, 3 or 4 of them converge on him, back to the 45-yard line, and Hank will lose 7 yards, 2nd and 17 for Dowling, and both defenses now starting to take over.
Nick Geller, real good play, stayed at home there for Johnston and was able to tie up Hank Hemrick on that bootleg. And Coach Wilson's going to look at this game going, our offense is not there yet, and for as many snaps as they've had.
And you got Centennial staring you in the face next week. So now quarterback draw, Hemrick keeps it and puts his head down and gets inside the 45, maybe down to the 42-yard, and just a 2-yard gain. I'll bring up 3rd and long for Dowling. And Matt, between plays, I know it's tough to do, but I want to mention tomorrow both the Dowling girls swim team and the Dowling volleyball team on the road. Volleyball team plays at the 12-team Iowa City West tournament. 9 o'clock when the matches start in Iowa City, and the girls swim team travels to Linn-Mar at the Linn-Mar Invitational. 11 teams there. Diving gets underway at 9 and noon for the rest of the meet. So safe travels to Dowling volleyball and swim teams tomorrow. Now on 3rd and 13, Hemrick wants to throw on the run. Now he's going to keep it, tucks it under, and is stood up right about the 38-yard line and falls out of bounds. So he'll gain 4 yards. It'll bring up 4th and about 9 for Dowling.
He was able to avoid that first set of rush, the first initial surge, and got outside the pocket, and then I only saw one receiver downfield, and he had nowhere to go with the football, and Johnston was able to pursue and stop that play. And with the defense playing as well as they have been, it allows Coach Wilson to kind of gamble here on 4th down.
Yeah, the Maroons are going to go for it. They say Hemrick stepped out of bounds at the 40, so he gained 2, so it's 4th and 12. Dowling going for it at the Johnston 40. Hemrick out of the shotgun on play action, has time, steps up in the pocket, fires near side, pass is just overthrown, incomplete. The intended receiver that time for the Maroons was Mac Anderson, the junior, and just out of his hands and incomplete. And Johnston will take over from their own 40-yard line. So you just talked about it, Matt. Dowling very confident in their defense. If they have to turn it over on downs, why not be at the 40-yard line?
Yeah, you might as well take a shot right here and make a play. And again, looking for other people to make an impact on offense. And they ran Mac Anderson, ran a route, curl, hook route, whatever you want to call it, right at the sticks. And Hank just threw it a little bit out of his reach.
All right, 1st down now for Johnston, and they'll work out of the pistol formation. And the quarterback is Rutz. He gives a handoff to Rush, and he stood up. The tailback, Jordan Rush, gets the handoff from quarterback Jack Rutz. Keep that in mind tonight. R&R in the backfield. Again, no gain on the play.
Rush and Rutz, and Rush met Neonte Gerke right in the hole. Neonte stood him up, and no yards after that hit, only backwards yards.
Let's go down to John Chido tonight on the Dowling sideline. I'll tell you what, it's a defensive battle now, John. Maroons have not got anything going offensively other than the points from that field goal.
Yeah, I noticed, too, that Johnson's defensive front, they switched from a 5-man front to a 4-man front, and they're doing a little different blitzing packages, kind of confusing the offensive line a little bit for Dowling.
Yeah, that Johnston is a 5-2 defense coming in, and now nice catch that time as quarterback Jack Rutz fires it out. Austin Nanke with the catch, and he's shy of the 1st down, gets it up to the 45. And a nice little pattern that time by the Dragons.
Carson Kriegshauser in coverage there and was trailing that receiver and made a nice play to limit the stop. Not hardly any yards after the catch again, and that's what Dowling's been doing offensively or defensively, just keeping that receiver in front of you, and then putting him in these 3rd and longs.
Minute remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Dowling 17, Johnston nothing on a beautiful night here at Valley Stadium. Temperature was 73 degrees at kickoff. West wind at 12. Back to throw is quarterback Jack Rutz. Fires it out. Little screen pass. Caught, 1st down and more. Nice job by the receiver. And he gets across into Dowling territory. And that was Austin Nanke with the catch. Inside the 45 down to the Dowling 44.
They're going to tack 15 more yards on. They're going to call roughing the passer. Dowling sold out and brought blitz on that play, and one of them, they said, got there a little bit late as they hit Rutz after he released the ball on that screen, and allowed, we're going to tack 15 more yards on. This is as deep as they've been in Dowling territory all night.
Inside the Dowling 30, they're going to put it at the Maroon 28-yard line, so Nanke's catch went for 11 yards. As you mentioned, tack 15 more on for roughing the passer, and now Johnston, 1st and 10 at the 28. Back to throw His quarterback Rutz fires to the right side. He likes that side. Pass incomplete. Nanke again was the intended receiver, and they're really working him. That's about his fourth target in this drive.
A sophomore quarterback, you don't have a lot of time to do a lot of things with him, and he is going to like that right side. For that right-handed quarterback, it's just an easier throw, especially on the quick throws, or if it's a quick slant across the body to his left side sometimes, depending on how he's sitting. So it's a little easier for him, easier packages.
And they're going to that as Johnston now with 2nd and 10. Read option to give, or keeping the football is the quarterback. Tries to get outside as he runs right. Rutz faked the handoff to Rush and ran around right end, got out of bounds on the far sideline in front of the Johnston bench. And they say he stepped out. Line of scrimmage was a 28, got to the 26 for a gain of 2.
Yeah, good job by Keogh there. Stayed home on that play. He was about the only guy out there to get Rutz out of bounds and was able to do that.
All right, brings up 3rd and 8 for Johnston. 23 seconds remaining as he stepped out of bounds. Clock is stopped. 23 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Dragons will send 3 receivers left, 1 to the right, which has been pretty much their formation on this drive. No tight end, and the 1 setback is Jordan Rush. Quarterback is Jack Rutz. He fires downfield. The pass is incomplete. And Dowling now will prevent them from first down, so we'll bring up 4th down with 19 seconds here, Matt. And I'll tell you what, Owen Schultz was, they were targeting him. That's the wrong guy to target, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he is great in coverage. And Dowling brought pressure again. They brought the heat at him, and here Johnston's going to go for a field goal.
This is a long one, 42-yard field goal by the Dragons, as their place kicker is Nick Nyron, number 13. The holder will be Ben Brooks, the backup quarterback, number 8. The long snapper for the Dragons is Jaden Mueller. So from the right hash, a 42-yard field goal. Clock continues to run, and the kick is blocked right into the middle of the field, and it's recovered right at the 26-yard line. That's where Dowling will have it. 1st and 10 as a blocked field goal that time by the Maroons.
The snap came in low, and the holder, the ball was on the ground, and he's trying to set it up, and I don't think he got it up vertically, and he kicked it right into the line of scrimmage. That ball never got more than 5 feet off the ground.
So Dowling will take over with 11 seconds remaining. Let's go down to John Chatto before this play, for our final play, apparently, of the 3rd quarter. Johnny?
Well, it's been a defensive battle. Johnson had a nice little drive going there on that screen pass that was set up and was able to get inside the red zone, like you guys mentioned the first time, and then the Dowling defense held strong.
And they're just going to give it to Tegan Johnson, and they try to tackle him high, and he breaks the tackle, gets up to the 30, so he gains 9 yards on the final play of the 3rd quarter. So we've come to the end of the 3rd quarter of play with the score. Dowling 17, Johnston nothing. Alongside Matt Maindring, I'm Mark Amadale, John Chido on the Dowling sideline, and we're with the Central Iowa Sports Network, CISN.TV tonight. And you're also listening to the game on Iowa Catholic Radio. We'll be back in 1 minute. Here from
Every month or so, there's another story in the media about when and how often we need to get our mammograms. Kind of confusing. When this happens, I like to consult with experts. So I called Iowa Radiology. They recommend women get an annual mammogram starting at age 40. They know that it's the best way to detect cancers early and save lives. And that's good enough for me. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule your mammogram. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
MidAmerican Energy and you, together partnering to change the energy landscape by pioneering money-saving, energy efficiency programs and building a new industry in Iowa, wind energy, all while keeping your rates low. So what's next? We'll keep delivering cost-effective energy efficiency programs while putting money back in your pocket. That's right. You decide how best to spend your savings. That's a partnership good for you, good for the environment, and good for Iowa. Another way we're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
And we're back here at Valley Stadium, underway here in the 4th quarter. Dowling with the first down, or rather, check that, a 2nd down, 2nd and 6 as we underway here in the 4th quarter. Now a stoppage of play as our referee is. They're going to get Dowling center Nolan Sinnott for the penalty. I don't know if it was he moved the football that he did earlier in that first half or not there, Matt.
You wonder if that was one of those points of emphasis this week for the officials. And you make it might be many years before you see that called twice in a season. We got it called twice in one night.
I'll give you another hint. It could be because the coaches that were scouting Dowling,
yes,
the Johnston coaches and Coach Woodley may have seen that on film and wondering why it wasn't called. Handoff Tegan Johnson for the Maroons. Tegan bounces way outside, then cuts upfield and gets near the 30-yard line, so he gets some of those yardage back, maybe 4 yards. It'll bring up third down at the 29-yard line.
I have a feeling you're right on that, Mark. That voice of experience right there. Coaches wouldn't do that, would they?
Oh, they see a lot in film. And why isn't that being called? And so guess what happens when you have your meeting with the officials? First thing they ask you is, the official asks, do you have any unusual plays or special plays? Then you say, the Dowling center, I noticed on film, and you planted the seed. So they'll get that fixed. All right, 3rd and 7 for the Maroons. Tegan Johnson runs for 4 yards. Dowling working out of the pistol. Hank Hemrick at quarterback. The give is a Tegan Johnson. Boy, he blasts out of a hole, first down, up to the 40, and finally brought down at the 44-yard line. My goodness, 15-yard run for Tegan Johnson. First down, Dowling. The Maroons are going hurry up.
Tegan's biggest run there, and they've been running to the narrow side of the field out of that formation all night long, and that time they ran Tegan to the wide side off the edge, and big play.
All right, here's Hemrick. Give Tegan Johnson. This time left side. Finds a hole. Still on his feet midfield. Pushed out of bounds into Johnston territory. And I think they're going to spot him for the first down at the Dragon 46.
And right now, the offensive line is starting to take over. This is where that fatigue sets in. Get the ball set, run the next play.
10-yard run for Tegan Johnson. First down, Dowling at the 46. This time they'll run him right. And he hits and is hit and dropped at the 45. Gains 1 as that hole converged over there on that left side of that Johnston Dragon defense. So Tegan a gain of 1. Second down, 9 coming up for the Maroons at the Johnston 45.
Jake Tilges and company really flew to the football there and were able to stop Tegan up, and it slows this momentum down, but the first down was gained.
All right, quarterback draw as Hank Hemrick calls his own number, bowls his way inside the 40 of Johnston down to the 38. He'll pick up 7 yards.
Nice run there by Hank. Nice strong run, and ends up with his shoulders going down forward, and he finished it. I mean, he really finished that run going in the right direction.
All right, bring up second down, 2nd and 3 for the Maroons. Hemrick loses the football, and Johnston picks it up. We might have a scoop and score. Johnston picks it up at the 45 of Dowling, and he's going to run it all the way in. Touchdown, Johnston Dragons, and it's a scoop and score there, Matt.
Aiden Moore. The football is oblong. It doesn't bounce back up to
No, it doesn't.
And the snap came back to Hank and couldn't get it and fumbled it a little bit, and it's hard to tell where it's not a good snap or if it's not, but irregardless, the ball bounced, and it didn't bounce right back up to him.
And the Dragons have cut the lead to 17-6 with 10:18 remaining in the fourth quarter. Aiden Moore, the weak side linebacker, he's already got an interception this year, and this time he picks up a Dowling fumble and runs it back 45 yards for the score unofficially. Now the Dragons will attempt the extra point. Nick Nyron, the right-footed kicker, on the hold from backup quarterback Ben Brooks. Here's the snap by Jaden Mueller, and it's up, and it is good. So Johnston now has cut the lead to 10. It's Dowling 17, Johnston 7 with 10:18 remaining fourth quarter. Back in 1 minute here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Thousands in Waukee. Schottenkirk Chevy, Waukee. 2019 Silverado 1500 Double Cab up to 25% off. 2019 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab, LT or RST up to 20% off MSRP. Or up to $5,000 off plus 0% for 72 months. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. 2019 Colorado up to $7,000 off. Or $5,000 off plus 1.9% for 60 months. Or 2.9% for 72 months. These won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy, Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Hey, we're back here at Valley Stadium on the kickoff by Johnston's Nick Nyron. He boots it in the end zone. There'll be no return for the Maroons. And just like that, Johnston strikes a 50 or 45-yard fumble return by Aiden Moore, the linebacker for Johnston. Extra point by Nyron is good. It's 17-7. Johnston with their first score was a defensive score. Let's go down to the Dowling sideline, and that is where John Chido is on our Shields sideline report. Johnny?
Well, what happened was the ball was snapped, and Hank was kind of glanced over the sideline and wasn't expecting it, and the ball hit him in the shoulder and went to the ground, and Johnson scooped and scored that.
Yeah, they certainly did, and Dragons now back on defense. The Maroons get it back on the ground game. Dowling had a tremendous drive going that time, Matt. They
really
had the
did.
ball, and all of a sudden it just kind of went south after that fumble.
Yeah, they were really in a tempo and moving down the field, getting up to the line of scrimmage and moving quickly. The offensive line was starting to take over the game.
They were.
There you sit.
All right, Tegan Johnson, a 5-yard gain on first down, so it's 2nd and 5 Maroons.
Can't say enough about this Johnston defense. They have played solid, and they have been on the field a lot tonight.
Dowling won last year 27-0 at Johnson. Handed off Tegan Johnson near side, gets outside the numbers and finally cut down as he got the first down at the 32-yard line before he's run out of bounds. A gain of 7 for Tegan Johnston.
Really like to see that. You see Nolan Sinnott blocking to the backside of the whistle, as we would call it, and out there right by Tegan and pancaking a guy right at the end of the play, and that's fun to watch.
7-yard gain. It's 1st and 10 Dowling from their own 32-yard line. Dowling 17, Johnson 7, 9.5 minutes remaining, 4th quarter. Mark Amadale, Matt Madring, handoff Tegan Johnson again, and finally he's cut down just shy of the first down. They're going to spot his knee down at the 39. He picked up 7 yards.
Jake Tilgus really, he stopped what could have been a touchdown run right there. He got Tegan around the ankles after a 7-yard gain.
All right, here's the snap. Hank Henrich, the quarterback from Maroons, read option. The give is to Tegan Johnson. He's shy of the first down. Gets up to the 40. Gain of 1. It'll bring up 3rd and short for the Maroons.
Tilgus on the stop again for the Dragons, and they've really made this difficult to run consistently. It hasn't been too often. They've had 2 positive run plays in a row.
Yeah, you're not seeing 9 defenders in the box for Johnson. They've got to cover the 3 receivers. Read option, handoff Tegan Johnson, short side, and he gets down the near sideline. He's got the first down and a holding penalty called. They're going to move it. The flag to the 40-yard line right at the line of scrimmage, and you hear the Johnston coaches next to us yelling about that.
Well, when you see the defender get flipped over like a reversal in wrestling.
Is that what happened?
It kind of looks like a hold. Whether he did or not, I can't say. But, yeah.
That'll wipe out an 11-yard run. The penalty, and it's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, says Jerry Kinder, our official tonight. And they'll move the ball back to the Dowling 30, so that is a change of possession or a change of field of 21 yards.
Puts them behind the sticks again, and now we got to get that 3rd and long situation, and now it's a tenuous 10-point lead, and so you're not going to be as
right.
gamble.
That was a 3rd down play for Dowling. Well, this is a 3rd down play, but it's 3rd and 12 Dowling from their own 30. Pistol formation, 2 receivers. Now Hemrick is cut down in the backfield as his knee hits the ground back at the 26-yard line. Great job by the Johnston defense in there. Hank wanted to look for the pass first, couldn't find it.
Well, it was a strange play. It looked like a broken play, and because he was faking the handoff, and Tegan ran behind him, not on the ball side. And so it was really a strange, broken play there for the Maroons, and Aiden Moore made him pay up front.
He's a young man who had the scoop and score, so it's 4th and 16 Dowling. Gerke in the punt. He'll stand back at his own 11-yard line. And single safety back, and Dowling now, you notice some
a lot
kind of flip-flopping their that second line. And now here's a long count. Here's a snap with 2 on the play clock. High end over end kick. Fair catch signal 4 by Johnston right at the 43-yard line. And I believe that would be Quincy Hale with the signal, and it'll be Johnston football, 1st and 10 from their own 43-yard line. Still got a game here. 7:41 left in the 4th quarter. Dowling 17, Johnston 7. Let's go down to our Shields sideline reporter, and that is John Chido. John, come on in. It's all defense right now, and it's been a defensive score here in this 4th quarter.
Yeah, it hasn't been a pretty game. It's just been a game full of penalties and mistakes, and that's what stalls drives. And Dowling's defense has been holding strong, so that's been the good news for tonight.
No question about that, John. Back to throw on first down as the Dragons now air it out, and the pass is caught. Nice catch that time by Cale Nessheim on the pass from Jack Rutz.
Scooped that right off the turf, and they faked the bubble screen and threw it to the guy running the slant route underneath, and he was covered well and just scooped it off the ground, made a nice play.
SIM had a couple catches in that first half, that one for 7 yards. And 2nd and 3. Back to throw Rutz, setting up the screen, fires the ball out. Pass is caught, and that is Matt Thompson with the catch. But he's snowed under at the line of scrimmage, got to midfield, and that was it.
They set up that screen play, and it looks like a jailbreak coming through there. Jackson Fowler was able to get a hand up. I don't think he tipped it. And we had another guy, it looked like number 34, Jack Meyer, just missed it. And then we got the tackle on that screen play. Big play there for the Maroon defense.
No gain on the play, so it's 3rd and 3 Johnston. 6:40 remaining, fourth quarter. Read option. The quarterback will keep it. That's Rutz. He's being chased out of the backfield, now down the near sideline. Steps out of bounds at midfield. No gain in the play. It'll bring up 4th and 3 Dragons. That'll stop the clock with 6:35 remaining. Dowling by 10, and Johnston facing 4th down at midfield.
Really good job of stringing that play out there. It was Jack Meyer again, or no, it was, Jack Meyer again in pursuit, and strung that play out and gave Rutz no place to go but out of bounds.
Another young man making his first start.
Yeah.
Meyer, the linebacker, the junior, playing on the sophomore team a year ago this time. So, hey, welcome to the varsity. Get your first start.
Here's your ball game.
50-yard line is where Johnston's at. They're going for it. 4th and 3. Quarterback is Rutz out of the shotgun and pistol form. Penalty flag down right away. Rutz runs out of the pocket, and he fires near side. The pass is incomplete.
Now, it'd be interesting because he threw it right to center if their center moved the football. That's right where he threw it, so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, the umpire threw the flag, and he's talking with the referee, and the umpire has that responsibility of the line. We'll see what the call is. We'll pick up Jerry Kinder, our referee, try to pick up his signal. Illegal shift on Johnston. Dowling's going to decline it. Pass was incomplete, and the Maroons will take over at midfield. With 6.5 minutes remaining, John Chido, that might be the defensive play of the game right there.
Yeah, once again, the defense held strong. They're making Rutz, forcing him out of the pocket and not allowing him time to set his feet and throw. The receivers have been there, and the coverage has been good, but you wouldn't know because you can't set his feet and throw the football.
All right, Dowling now will keep it on the ground. Hand off Tegan Johnson. He shot out of a cannon inside the 50, and he's near a first down. They're going to spot him at the Johnston 41-yard line. Little spin move about 8 yards downfield, but couldn't get out of it.
Couldn't get out of it. You like to remind Tegan he's not a dancer. You know, he's a downhill runner. And
you call him into your office about that one.
I will. You know, he just got to get that last yard there to get that first down, and he thought he could spin out of the play and keep running, but Johnston had good pursuit.
What he'll tell you, Coach, is I didn't want to stop the clock.
Yeah, I know.
Because he stops the clock with the first down. So instead he gets 8 yards. All right, here's a direct snap to Hank Hemrick. He keeps the football. He picks up the first down and more. Drags tacklers down to the Dragon 35.
Good, strong run there by Hank. Showed great leg strength, lower body strength right there by dragging those runners with him. And he really impresses me with his. I didn't expect him to be able to run the ball like he's been able to run the ball with the power that he does.
Yeah, he drug tacklers for 7 yards and a Dowling first down. The Maroons will let the game clock or the play clock run. 5.5 minutes remaining, fourth quarter. Timeouts remaining. Dowling has all 3 at their disposal. Johnston with 2. Hand off Tegan Johnson, and he bowls his way towards the near sideline. Stays in bounds and is run out of bounds at the 31. He'll gain 4. Going to bring up second down and 6.
Tyler Kronlage got the initial hit on Tegan Johnson, wasn't able to take him down, and Tegan got to the next level. And then the rest of the Dragons came in there in pursuit.
So the Maroons just grinding it out. Folks were asking, what is the status of Dowling's Gavin Williams, the young man who transferred from Southeast Polk. He'll dress tonight. He's wearing number 21 on the sidelines. He'll go through contact this week and hopefully play next week. And he and Tegan will be on the field at the same time. And wait till you see a few of those packages, Coach Maynard. You want to go to practice this week? Go watch practice. It'll be real interesting. Hand off Tegan Johnson. No gain in the play, so we'll bring up 3rd and long. 3rd and 6 for Dowling at the Johnston 31-yard line. Both these defenses have played outstanding here in the second half.
And you can see, right now the Dowling offense misses Louis Brooks here a little bit.
Yes, they do.
They haven't been able to extend the field. There's not that deep threat down there, and so that, Matt Stillwell and Josh Shackman have done a great job. There's not that deep threat right now.
All right, Mac Anderson and Josh Jackman split out wide to the right. They give it to Tegan Johnston. He runs left, and he goes nowhere. Maybe a yard down to the 20, or check that, down inside the 35, down to the 34-yard line, we'll call it.
And Tegan, as much as he'd like to get a lot of touches, he's really been the workhorse.
All right.
We'll be thankful someone else is with him.
We'll take a 1-minute break and come back. 4th and 9 for Dowling, and the Maroons lead at 17-7 with 4:09 remaining fourth quarter here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Every month or so, there's another story in the media about when and how often we need to get our mammograms. Kind of confusing. When this happens, I like to consult with experts. So I called Iowa Radiology. They recommend women get an annual mammogram starting at age 40. They know that it's the best way to detect cancers early and save lives. And that's good enough for me. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule your mammogram. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
Is this guy a contractor who does good work or a contractor who needs work? For a reliable recommendation, trust the Better Business Bureau, protecting consumers for over a century. When you go to bbb.org to check out a business, you'll learn if it's BBB accredited, see its grade on customer service, and read honest, useful reviews from local people. For online recommendations you can trust, start with trust at bbb.org/Iowa.
I know, he was.
And back at Valley Stadium, Dowling going for it on 4th down, and incomplete pass to Matt Stillwell. So the Maroons will turn the ball over on downs to Johnston. They take over 1st and 10 from their own 34-yard line. 4 minutes, 4 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Dragons now trying to get on the scoreboard on the offensive side. Pass incomplete. Is underthrown by quarterback Jack Rutz. He went to his left, and he had a big defender hit him, and I think it was Jackson Filer might have got him and altered that play there, Matt.
Yeah, Filer. He
underthrown that's the reason why.
Yes, Rutz got rid of it just in time, and before Filer laid the boom on him.
Maroons or both Johnson now going hurry up, and a little lateral pass to the left side, caught by Quincy Hale, and he slips a tackle and gets up near a 1st down. Finally drugged down. They say he stayed in bounds. He crossed the 40-yard line, so he gained about 6-7. Let's see where they put his knee down at, right at the 42-yard line.
I think he's got cramps there on the sideline. He's trying to stretch out. He's going to get up there.
8-yard reception that time for Quincy Hale. Mark Amadale, Matt Maynard. Let's go down to our Dowling sideline reporter and our Shields sideline report, and that is John Chido. John?
Yeah, that last offense on the 4th down play, Johnson was playing press coverage. The corner was playing up on Stillwell, and it made him difficult to get off the line and forced the errant throw to the sideline. There was no room over there.
Yeah, they certainly did, and now quick pass that time from Rutz. He found Cale Nessheim kind of sitting there right where that linebacker is on the right side of the formation. About a 5-yard pass, but Nessheim gains some extra yards, gets across the 45 up to the 46, a gain of 4.
Yeah, they're in the 2 receivers off and run him back underneath the line scrimmage right to the linebackers.
So a 4-yard reception, and now back to throw. Jack Rutz on 1st down, and he fires it out of bounds, incomplete on the far sideline. Penn receiver was, let's see if that might have been Woodley over there.
Yeah.
Lute, they haven't thrown a whole lot to him.
No, I think that
Coach's son, and Lute's been frustrated. I think he may have one catch, and that might be it.
He was trying to tiptoe on the sideline and trying to keep his feet in bounds and just couldn't control the football. And he had Rutz rolling out to his left, a difficult throw on the run, but he threw it pretty well, and just Woodley couldn't bring it under control.
And we'll stop the clock with 3 minutes, 11 seconds remaining, fourth quarter. Dowling trying to close this out. Maroons lead it 17-7 over Johnston. Johnston with the ball. They go left to right, north to south here at Valley Stadium on a gorgeous night. Now Rutz back to throw. A quick slant. Pass is incomplete. Penn receiver that time was Tyler Moore, and he tried to thread the needle right between Dowling defenders, and one of them was Owen Schultz, and that's not going to happen too often.
I'm not sure which offensive guy he was trying to throw to there. But Schultz was in great coverage anyway he cut it.
Yeah, the ball ended up where Moore was. Tyler Moore, the 6'5 junior. Got some tall receivers for Johnson. Moore's 6'5, Woodley at 6'3. Thompson at 6'3. All right, 3rd and 10, Johnston from their own 46. Pressure's on, back to throw he goes, and it's incomplete. And I'll tell you what, Rutz took a hit. They're going to help him up. Filer was back there, as the intended receiver that time was Caleb Nessheim coming from left to right.
They brought Neonte Gerke up to blitz, and that freed up Filer on the outside edge, and Filer came uncontested back there to Rutz, and Rutz is going, somebody blocked that kid.
Another hurried pass by the quarterback. It doesn't go down as a sack, and Coach Chido knows about this in the sideline. It doesn't go down as a sack, but one of those little intangibles that really helps for the game. Johnston going for it now. 3 minutes remaining. 4th and 10, Johnston from their own 46. Back to throw, and now being chased. Rutz runs to his left, fires the ball downfield, and the pass is caught, and that is Luke Woodley with the catch. And I'll tell you what,
he dropped it.
Did he end up driving
it loose? Yeah.
They did rule it incomplete.
Yeah.
It went right between the hands of Dowling's Neonte Gerke, and I thought he came up with it.
I thought he did too.
He mistimed it.
I thought he did too. I thought he ended up coming down, and Dowling knocked it loose as it hit his hands and turns the ball over on downs.
So Dowling will take over 1st and 10 with 2 minutes and 56 seconds remaining from the Johnston 46-yard line. John Chido will go down to him on our Shields sideline report. And great effort by the Dowling defense tonight. You can't take away what they've done.
No, you can't. And I don't think the receiver was expecting to catch that ball, like you said. Gerke, it went right through his hands, and then the receiver, I think it was Woodley, and Austin Klein put a nice hit on him too.
Oh, that's who finished off was Klein, and now handoff to Tegan Johnson, but he went out of bounds. He turned the corner and no gain.
Yeah, he's got to look at the clock here and make sure he cuts that back up a little bit sooner.
That stops the clock with 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. Johnson down to 1 timeout. Coach Woodley said thank you for that. You got an extra, make Dowling run an extra play. So it's 2nd and 10 Dowling. I'm going to call it the 45-yard line. We'll give Tegan a gain of 1. Be interested to see what his yardage is tonight. He was struggling. He was under 100 yards for the first time this season at the first half. Handoff Tegan Johnson. Slips a tackle inside the 40. Still on his feet. First down. Finally brought down at the Dragon 31-yard line. A pickup of 14 yards and a Dowling first down.
He hasn't reached the end zone. Has he reached the end zone tonight? I don't think he has. And he's got a lot of yards in the second half, between the 20s. You know, it's been a lot of yards in between the 20 and the 40-yard line for Tegan.
Touchdowns tonight were both by Hank Hemrick. He ran for 1 for 3 yards out, and he hooked up with Josh Jackman for 9. That's been the lone scores for Dowling. And then, of course, the field goal by Jake Calvert at 32 yards. Here in the second half, the lone score handoff. Tegan Johnson right up the gut, puts his head down inside the 30, and he's dropped about the 26-yard line for a gain of 5.
And you still see these Maroon offensive linemen sustaining their blocks to the end of the whistle, sometimes 10 yards away from the play. I mean, they're engaged and they're blocking, and that makes Coach Williams smile.
We're going to keep it here with 2:15 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Timeout on the field, and I think it's Johnston. They use their final timeout. Dowling leading 17-7 here on Iowa Catholic Radio. And Mr. Mainring, we got some updated scores. How about that score over in eastern Iowa as the Valley Tigers are now tied with Cedar Rapids Kennedy in the third quarter? That's kind of somewhat of a surprise, I think.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that game plays out tonight.
And that is, as we look at the...
and Waterloo West has closed the gap on Centennial. It's a 14-13 ball game. Centennial by 1 point in the third quarter.
Number 2 Valley and number 2 Cedar Rapids Kennedy tied. And you mentioned Centennial ranked number 1 against unranked Waterloo West, having a tough go about. Here it's 17-7, Dowling over Johnston. 2:15 remaining in the fourth quarter. And Johnston now out of timeouts. The Maroons will go for out of the pistol formation. Hank Hemrick at quarterback, read option, and they give to Tegan Johnson, and Tegan just grinds his way. Boy, you can see the weight room work there with his legs, just churns and carrying tacklers inside the 25 of Johnson down to the 23.
And again, Charlie Nank and Sinnott at the bottom of the pile, Joe Ryan, you see Bowles, and they are really just grinding that thing out inside right now, and Jake Olson.
It takes a certain priest in Ankeny to sync the CISN broadcast with our radio broadcast. Usually we're about a second behind, and they're about 20. But somehow he figured a way to do that. And Pete and I are looking at each other because he was our parish priest. Like, I have no idea how he did that. We will never know the magic. And now handoff Tegan Johnson. That'll do it. That's a first down, and that should be the final first down as Johnson can't stop the clock here.
Right. So first down, and now you got 3 plays. The clock will start here.
Ball
on
in
the whistle.
19.
Yep, clock starts on the ready to go, and this will be the victory formation as Deontay Gerke comes in that deep spot.
Maroons now with Hank Hemrick at quarterback. He'll take a knee. And Johnston can't stop the clock. So Dowling will now improve their record to 2 wins and 1 loss. That sets up their matchup with, right now, number 1 Ankeny Centennial, who's having their hands full up at Ankeny Stadium, holding off unranked Waterloo West. Matt, you said that score was 14-13.
Yep.
Ankeny Centennial by a point.
Yep.
So we'll keep an eye on some of those scores. The Valley Tigers tied as they move to Eastern Iowa against Cedar Rapids Kennedy. And that matchup, as we talked about in the pregame, is the clock winding down here. Dowling just letting the clock run. Kennedy had only passed the ball twice this year, and I thought maybe they're going to have to pass the ball against the Valley. But Kennedy has given them all they can handle.
Yeah. One thing we'd like to make note of is we have Ankeny coming to town on Tuesday
night for volleyball.
Big volleyball game at the Dowling gym. So make sure you come out and pack the gym on Tuesday night.
Final score, Dowling 17, Johnston 7. Final 15 seconds running off the clock. Johnston cannot stop the clock, so both teams will get their handshakes in early. John Chido will get post-game interviews, and we've got a choice of young men to interview for Dowling along with head coach Tom Wilson, so we'll get all that accomplished. But, yeah, I want to hats off to the Dowling volleyball team. They hosted Southeast Polk Tuesday night. Yep. It was a parochial night. My daughter got to walk across the court before the matches with Southeast Polk. And that was a lot of fun. And
there was a lot of little girls.
I understand that. Were you on duty that night?
I was not on duty.
Oh, okay.
I just got to see it.
Did you get a few phone calls from people?
No.
It was a lot of fun.
Those kids are great.
Mary Beth Wiskus does a great job with her volleyball program. My daughter is a part of the parochial team at Holy Trinity, and they walked across the floor, had a great time. And the big matchup, as you mentioned, volleyball Tuesday night at Dowling against Ankeny or Centennial?
I'm assuming it's probably Centennial. Who's ranked number 1? Centennial, right?
I think Centennial. They're defending champs. So,
yep.
All right, final score again: Dowling 17, Johnston 7. The Dragons fall to 1-2 on the season in non-district play, and for Dowling, the Maroons improved to 2 wins and 1 loss. Next week, Muscatine travels to Johnston for a 7 o'clock kickoff, and Dowling travels to number 1 Centennial. Let's take a look at our final statistics before we send it to break here on Iowa Catholic Radio as we are simulcast with the good folks at the Central Iowa Sports Network. And Matt Mainring, Dowling tonight, 312 yards of total offense, 68 total yards for Johnston. The Maroons had 100 yards in the air, Johnston 56 yards in the air. Rushing, Dowling with 212 yards on the ground, and Johnston with just 12 yards on the ground. Maroons, Dowling penalized 9 times for 80 yards. We'll have to clean that up next week when they make the trip to Ankeny. Johnston penalized twice for 10 yards. First downs, Dowling tonight with 20 first downs. Johnston with just 4. And individually, Hank Hemrick, the Dowling quarterback, 9 out of 16 passing, 1 interception, 100 yards and a touchdown. And the Johnston quarterback, not a bad night in his own right, but he threw a lot of passes, didn't complete a whole lot.
Jack Rutz.
Jack Rutz, 10 of 27. 56 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. Leading ground gator tonight was Tegan Johnson once again, 38 carries, which is probably double his capacity.
Yeah.
38 carries, 166 yards. Hank Hemrick, 19 carries for 46 yards and a touchdown. For Johnston, Jordan Rush, their leading ball carrier, 11 carries, just 14 yards. And the leading receiver for Dowling was Matt Stillwell, 5 catches, 67 yards. Josh Jackman, 2 catches, 21 yards, and a touchdown for Dowling. And Louis Brooks, before he was injured, 2 catches for 12 yards. Leading receiver for Johnston was Cale Nessheim, 4 catches for 21 yards. And Austin Nanke, 2 catches for 17 yards. And also for Johnston, Alvin Brisbane, 2 catches for 10 yards. That'll wrap it up. 17-7 Dowling. We'll move to our postgame show here as we simulcast on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network. Dowling with 312 yards of total offense. Johnston 68 tonight. And our final, Dowling 17, Johnston 7 for Matt Mainring and John Chido. Mark Amadale will move to the postgame show, so stay tuned here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Save thousands in Waukee. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. 2019 Silverado 1500 Double Cab up to 25% off. 2019 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT or RST up to 20% off MSRP or up to $5,000 off plus 0% for 72 months. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. 2019 Colorado up to $7,000 off or $5,000 off plus 1.9% for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months. These won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Move to the post-game show here on Iowa Catholic Radio. Dowling with the win tonight, 17-7 over the Johnston Dragons, and John Chido down on the field, and he'll get us our interviews tonight, Matt. And full moon
out there. Friday the 13th and a full moon, and all is good.
It is. All right. Well, John Chido, as I can pick him out down there, I think he's got. He might have Hank Emmerich with him, the Dowling quarterback. So we'll go down there with John once he gets set up. But congratulations to Tom Wilson. Bounce back time after the Valley loss. Matt and the Maroons with the win tonight over Johnston. Very similar to last year. Same scenario, and you hope that all works out. All right, let's go down to John Chido for interviews on the field. And John has Hank Emmerich, the Dowling quarterback. And Johnny, take it away as our Shields sideline reporter.
I have Christian Osley here. Christian, awesome job by the defense tonight. We couldn't say it enough how well you guys stepped up and were able to basically keep them out of the red zone the whole night, I think, for just one series, and their only lone score was a block punt. Your thoughts on the defense tonight?
I thought we did a great job. We stepped up a lot from last week, and we came together as a team and gave them business.
All right, now Mark and Coach, he does have the earphones on, so you can ask questions if you like.
Well, sweet. First of all, I thought he had Hank Emmerich, John, and it was Mr. Osley.
Yeah.
You know what? Excellent job tonight. Defense really carried the team tonight. I know the offense found it tough, but talk about that. You were jumping a few routes, and I tell you what, you guys had their reads down, Chris.
Yeah, had to adjust a lot from last week. Was focused on the run. This week they had a lot of pass games, so we had to focus on that.
I like the way you flowed to the ball tonight, Christian. You really you were flying across the field. It was fun to watch. You seemed like you played with a little more energy tonight than you did last week.
Yeah, I had to step it up a lot. Just did my best.
Yeah.
Well, you play hard, and I tell you what, you got to like that. And what's the biggest difference? I mean, last week to this week, I know Coach talked about assignment football, especially defensively, and it looks like you guys stayed in your gaps and you read you had your reads down.
Yeah, we had to focus on the little things more and not rush so much to the run, watch what the fullbacks do and tight ends, and just getting a pass coverage of his pass.
All right, well, young man, great job. Congratulations, Chris Osley, and playing that linebacker spot, that Mike linebacker. Best of luck to you next week as you take on number 1 Centennial up there.
Thank you.
All right, John Chido visiting on the field. He'll get our next interview all set up. He's got the big guy. Boy, he's got the lineman.
The big guy. That headset's going to be sweaty when he's done.
My goodness. Charlie Nank and John Chido will send it down to them. Johnny?
I need to stand on like a podium to get Charlie.
There's got to be a great picture of this.
Huh?
It's a good thing it's from above.
Yes. Take it away, John.
Well, Charlie, good job by the offensive line. You had some drives that were stalled by some penalties, which can be cleaned up. Obviously, it wasn't pretty, but it's a win. And a great bounce back from last week. Tough physical ball game last week with Valley. Come back, play Johnston. Your thought on tonight's game?
Oh, yeah, we knew who Johnston was. They're a scrappy team who they're not scared of anyone. They're going to step up and hit you every single play, and obviously they showed that they're well in shape and they're capable of playing a full fourth quarter ball game. We just need to do a better job of cleaning up the little things like penalties and finishing through the end zone.
Well, I noticed a little bit they run in 5-man front, and I think they switched to a 4-man front, back to a 5-man. They kind of switch some things up. Are they bringing different stunts and looks throughout the game?
Yeah, watching film, they like to bring a lot of movement. They bring backers off the edge a lot, and we watch a lot of film. Our coaches do a great job of making sure we're ready for that in practice, and our coach and our O-line coach, Coach Pollock, does a great job of when we watch film with him, asking us questions, keeping it interactive, saying, can we expect something coming off the edge or not?
Mark or Coach?
All right, thank you, John. Hey, Charlie, I know you're one of those veterans on an offensive line. You guys take a lot of this to heart. When you see the running back or quarterbacks and receivers get a lot of yards, I know that makes you feel well. But tonight, you guys were sustaining your blocks downfield. I don't know if it was you or somebody else on the offensive line, but you did a great job of that.
We take a lot of pride in that. We take a lot of pride in doing the little things and blocking somebody a full play through the whistle. That's what an O-line needs to do. While you're, it's the worst feeling in the world watching film and watching your running back or quarterback run for his life, and you're just out there just doing nothing. We take a lot of pride in blocking the full play.
You want to catch yourself watching the game because you guys are playing the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you heard that many times?
A little bit, yeah.
I think, Charlie, one thing I'm going to ask you here is, with Coach Williams' guidance over the last 4 years, now your senior year, what has that meant to you as that O-line coach?
Oh, it means so much. It's so much fun getting to, we all know how legendary he is and how he built Dowling's program from the ground up. Coach Pollock, Coach Wilson does a lot in showing us that this program is way more than just us. This program goes back so long before our parents. We enjoy bringing it with Coach Williams because he has so much fun being out there with us, and we have fun being out there with him, and he definitely makes it really fun out there at practice and games.
Well, I'll tell you what, Charlie, you had a new starter in the backfield or in the front line tonight. Jake Olson started at right guard because of the illness to Tyler Stein. Hopefully Tyler will be back. But what did you think of the right guard's performance for what you could tell at left tackle?
Oh, I felt he played great. You know what you're going to get out of him. We had a great week of practice, and we knew what we were going to get out of him was effort every play. We knew he was going to bring extra effort every play. He was going to do his job, and that's all you can expect from a guy who's stepping in a full four-quarter game for his first start ever. And Ty going down hurts. He's a big part of this O-line. He's fun to have around with us, and having him down really hurts us. But hopefully he's back next week for sure.
All right. Well, Charlie, best of luck next week as you take on Centennial, and we'll be broadcast the game in Iowa Catholic Radio. Best of luck to you, and thanks for visiting with us in the postgame show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Charlie Nank, along with Chris Owsley on our postgame show, and with John Chida, we'll take one. We've got Coach Wilson coming up, and I think Coach is available. So, John Chida, back down to you. Dowling winning tonight by the score of 17-7 over Johnston. Let's continue our postgame show from the field, and that's John Chida with head coach Tom Wilson.
Coach, a nice win. Congratulations on the victory tonight. It wasn't pretty, but it's a win's a win. The kids fought hard, and you're able to come out with the victory.
Well, obviously that's a goal, and we felt like we were kind of in control of things, and defensively I thought we were solid all night. They didn't stretch us too much, and I thought our kids stepped up, and one of the things they did was tackle better, which was obviously has been a point of emphasis from day one, but obviously we needed more work based on what we had seen so far. And offensively, we kill ourselves a lot of times. There's penalties and things like that stall drives, get us behind the sticks, and that makes it pretty tough. And losing Louis is a big dimension to our team too. And so it felt like we were a little bit handicapped. Part of that was handicapping ourselves, and I think you have to give Johnston credit. But at the end of the day, we win, and their only score is because our offense gave it to them.
Coach or Mark?
All right. Hey, Tom, I know improvement. You mentioned special teams. I thought Gerke did a tremendous job punting. He put a punt down there, and I think it was Osley or somebody that was on coverage and really provided that spark on special teams. And you found some kids to step up tonight. I know in the injury to Louis Brooks, I think you found some kids that could step up.
Oh, we did, and Louis is a pretty dynamic player, and he's got a great future for us. But Jackman has been solid all year, and he catches the touchdown pass, which I thought that was excellent for him. And Teagan was Teagan, but Jake Olson started this week because Stein has been sick, and honestly, Olson's going to give you every single thing that he has, and there at the end we were kind of running over him a little bit. So I'm proud of him, and he's such a good kid. He's just a kid that you root for, and he's going to do nothing but get better.
Coach Wilson, it was how big was that field goal from Calvert? A positive going forward down the next session of the season.
Well, there's no question, and that's a very valid point. And the head coach in you a little bit wants to go for it every time, but sooner or later you're going to have to kick field goals, and you can't expect it to do it unless they get opportunities. And I knew what I should do when Rame was tugging at me, so we kick it. Obviously fortunate to get the penalty so we could get another shot. Honestly, on the first one, I thought the snap was off based on Stillwell's having to come across the tee to place it. So then he knocked the second one pretty solid, and you're right. It was a big part in the game.
Yeah. Well, Coach Wilson, final question for you. You had new starter at linebacker, Jack Meyer, man one position, and starting right guard, Jake Olson. I know you probably haven't broke down film, but here's some positive things. You ran right a lot tonight, and that right side of the offensive line was open, so Jake had to have a hand in that, and Meyer was around the football a few times tonight when we called his number.
Well, he was. I'd kind of alluded to Olson, but Jack did start at outside backer, and honestly, I thought he did a pretty good job. But then, Kriegs comes in, Carson Kriegshauser, and I thought he made a nice open field tackle on their big tight end on the other side. And Will Lenhart got a little bit more playing time tonight, and he flashed a couple times defensively, and he also played on offense. So good to get contributions out of some other guys, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
Well, Coach, best of luck at practice this week, and we'll see you next 2 weeks up in Ankeny. Centennial lurks next week, and they were having their hands full with Waterloo West, as we just found out. So best of luck, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, thank you.
Head Coach Tom Wilson visiting with us here on the postgame show. We're going to take our final break of the night. Dowling defeats Johnston 17-7 here at Valley Stadium in West Des Moines. Mark Amadale, Matt Maindring here in the booth. John Chido down on the field. We'll take our final break and come back here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury. Whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
Schottenkirk Ford Indianola's kickoff event this month only. Take $16,000 off MSRP on every brand new 2019 Ford F-150 Crew Cab XLT 4x4 in stock. Plus, first responders receive an additional $1,000 bonus cash on new 2019 F-150 Super Duty, Expedition, and Ranger. New 2019 Fusion and Escape starting at just $18,999. Ford fans drive to Indianola to buy Fords. A kickoff event. Schottenkirk Ford Indianola. SchottenkirkFord.com.
And welcome back to Valley Stadium. Final score tonight, Dowling defeats Johnston 17-7 here at Valley Stadium. Mark Amadale, Matt Maindring here for final comments before next week's game. Dowling traveling to Ankeny, and they'll take on Centennial next week and Ankeny High School in 2 weeks. So we get to know the community of Ankeny the next 2 weeks, Mr. Maindring, very well.
It's going to be an exciting ball game next week, Friday night, and two heavyweights going at it, and two long-standing, solid programs, and so it should be a lot of fun. And really getting Gavin on the field for the first time, there'll be a lot of excitement that builds with that. And but I'm sure they're going to limit his carries, and with Teagan there, it's going to be able to split and lighten the load as well.
And for the Johnston Dragons, their record now 1-2. They'll host Muscatine next Friday night at Johnston, kind of playing some of those Eastern Iowa teams. We see Valley out at Cedar Rapids Kennedy right now, and they're tied with Kennedy at last report over in Cedar Rapids. So that's a top 5 matchup with those two. So you like seeing that football, but next week is the final week of non-district play. So a very important part of the high school season before district play begins in week 5.
Yeah, so it's an exciting time as the teams really get their last game out of what would be the preseason. I don't know. It's really not a preseason as Dowling goes through this gauntlet. And then all of a sudden we start to look at that ranking and that rating again as you start to move the RPI as we move forward.
All right. Well, Matt, it's been fun. We had a great night of high school football for the 3rd consecutive week, and we'll see you in Ankeny next week. That'll be a lot of fun, and we'll have the sun in our eyes. We'll be on the east bleachers, so if Dowling fans going to Ankeny, we'll be on the east bleachers, which is the old home side years ago, but we'll be there, and we'll be facing the sun.
One comment tonight, the band got their first time to run through their whole show, so it was kind of fun to watch. I was out of practice the other day as they're doing their final run-throughs, getting through the whole thing, and A lot of moving parts in that thing.
I noticed
they're
that.
running around.
I
There's
noticed
a lot
that.
of movement.
We did the split screen here, and we were interviewing Dr. Ryan, who do we want to thank for being our halftime guest. But we were talking, I looked down, and I said, they got all these moving parts.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of parents involved with that?
There's a lot of parents
Oh, my
involved
goodness.
in building props and metal staircases.
I
They got
saw
circular
that.
staircases. They got a little bit of everything going on. And Mr. Holland, Mr. Hoover do a great job with that program, and it's really fun to watch those kids. 17 kids in the pit. When I was in high school, you look down there, it'd be like 5. There's 17 kids in the pit. I never knew you had so many xylophones.
There is.
Yeah.
And by the way, in about 5 more years when my daughter's at Dowling as a
Yeah.
freshman, I'll have to go down there and assist the parents. Because you and Johnny are going to have to handle halftime while I'm down there pushing stuff around the moving parts.
We've been there, too. I've
figured-
done that, too,
I
when our
figured you
kids were
had.
in high school, yeah.
All right, well, that'll wrap up our broadcast tonight here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network. I want to thank the folks from the Central Iowa Sports Network, headed up by Pete Tarpey and his crew, Anna, Clayton, Nick, and, of course, Justin here earlier setting all this up. And, of course, Dave Beltran back at the studios of Iowa Catholic Radio producing our side of things. So next week it's Dowling and Ankeny, and join us for the broadcast here on Iowa Catholic Radio. And Central Iowa Sports Network will also have their broadcast, so you can watch the video and listen to the audio like some guy in Ankeny did tonight.
There you go.
They had it all synced. So for everybody involved, we want to thank our business underwriters and supporters of Iowa Catholic Radio. Our thanks to Tom Wilson and, of course, head coach Brian Woodley at Johnston. We want to thank him and all the staff at Johnston for their fine support. And that'll wrap it up tonight. Once again, the final, Dowling 17, Johnston 7. For Matt Mainring, John Chido, I'm Mark Amadale. Thanks for listening and watching here on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Central Iowa Sports Network.